Godzilla, G.O.D. MC, Rude Boy, Master Killer, my cup still is over, so my cleanse dirty. Dribble, no turner, my 100 Pacific greens, it's all burners, broadcast, wild and 10 turners, network, exert, both commas, both hands to the llama, I serve like many others. Sauce, Madonna, J Supreme, Abba, my Sunday, I show a earth seed like Madonna, every big bang, evolution, God, ethics, told you this whole path, mathematics, the convicts, terrorists, warfare, kinetics, extreme control war, ready to take their deadline, only right before you said it, first steps, they jump into my magic, too black, too strong, as a song, so mathematics. They call it for the magic of the people who they want to convince. Survival's my recipe, my recipe, harmonious therapy. Get ready for next man. We cycle like 720, and cycle the lifespan. We evolve and expand the blood race, the man, the brothership connection. We live, we in the land, far as all man, all nigga like a we do it true. We measure me all bars. The same to the east is empty. We try to put you on the sacrifice of always lady. Down and pending, we stop paying laws in the streets and the they move into my magic, the black, the strong, the songs of mathematics. They call it for the magic, but people who they want to convince the slow snapping. They sing into my line, they play to my roots and feel a whole new design. They say hip-hop, they don't expect simple lies to manifest with content, specialized pride. You know how we do, we serving that black, indigenous farm, waiting for that shitty real rap, and crime. Still in these mortals adapt to the irresistible rhythm of my vocal style rap. Flawless, expense, the fuck of being quiet, control the set, the cultural cycle, that is the next. If you run up the class, I protect you there. They come into my magic, black, songs of mathematics. They call it for the magic, the people what they want to convince the slow snapping. That's the next. The next better. And my people to campaign, not and black raw in the projects, vicious whipping that black hard. Rhymes insane, my skills is whipping that crack hard. Looking at Bron James, the black guard, got big lips and black raw. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Right the job, lives with jewelers and girls. This act's not the bottom of the world. Yo, I'm insufficient, setting up intuition, and you really don't have nothing if you intuition. I work with light just to give birth to life. I was born in all forms in the perfect night. The black guard, got big lips and black cards. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the star. I am the ruler, just like the lion and Judah. My third eye feels like an iron computer that's dark matter, and deep thought making your heart shatter. I sleepwalk, talking with smart chatter, so I don't need you to ride or die with me. I got answers that vibe from the other side with me, and they beam up life after death. We got notice on the eyes, cause the lights of breath, my priceless flesh, the final copy. Looks like Anunnaki, black God. Got big lips and black raw in the projects. Rich is whipping that black hard. Rhymes insane. My skills is whipping that crack hard. Looking at Bron James. The black guard got big lips and black bars. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Riding a job lives with jewelers and girls. Just ask not to follow the world. Yo, the black guard got big lips and black bars. In the projects, Rich is whipping that black car. My rhymes the same. My skills is whipping that crack hard. Looking at LeBron James, that nigga's a black guy. Make you wonder why we spit lead. Just the old raps, niggas got big heads. Like old Rex, way that I'm writing is more than veins. It's the age of enlightenment, be the moors of Spain. That Johanna, I pray to a black vagina. Even the Pope prays to the black Madonna. In the sun, I shine as bright as I be. I'm the greatest of all time, like Muhammad Ali. When I die, baptized in the fire. Only fly at night, black skies are higher. Prior to job, my lives with jewelers and girls. Just sex knives, fire rule the world, rubies and pearls. Black God, got big lips and black bra in the project. Rich is whipping that black hard, rhymes the same. My skills is whipping that crack hard. Looking at LeBron James. The black guard got big lips and black bars. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Riding a job lives with jewelers and girls. Just ask not to follow the world. Yo, the black guard, infinite to infinite stars, it's infinite light. My life's got an infinite charge. The instruments I implement to give strength to your heart. The temple within, the imprint, mimic the art. Into the dark, the dragon spark the fathom from a higher consciousness. I talk with atoms, I live in the land, and I live in the stars, original man. I am the image of God, on the type I'm common. I cut diamonds, so as long as I live, nothing can stop shining. You won't need to be in the biz to drive me crazy. Live on CNN, hearing cries from Haiti. You know the people down there trying to hide the babies. The black guards, surrounded in light, attract stars. Black guards, surrounded in light, attract stars. The black guards, surrounded in light, attract stars. I told you, all of my friends, I told you all, I was waiting for all time. All of you, I know you got it. I think you can do it. But the man did it. I'm going to show you what's going on. I told you, I'm the real champion. I told you, I'm the champion. Wow, let me go. Wow, and I'm finished. Wow, all you do.
Peace, peace, peace. You know what? Before we start this, please press 1 to make sure that I'm being heard clearly, because I do not want to have no technical difficulties in this video. I noticed that my headpiece has been sound a little staticky in the last couple of videos, so please just let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Press 1 if you can, press 2 if you can't. Choppy a little bit. All right, well, I'm gonna be dropping the link. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of talking in this one. And if you guys want to come in and give me your perspective of how Black Americans, as classified as African Americans, can claim that they Aborigines to this land, please, provide some information for the people. And I would love to sit back and I would love to understand. Because at this point in time, I'm confused, man. I'm really confused, and I'm like, I'm not doubting my research, but I'm doubting other people's research. I'm doubting what other people say. So, if you guys can please provide to me and to the people, because there's a lot of confusion in this community as far as some people think some people think Africans came here, some people think Africans mixed with Indians. But if you believe that it was Black people here prior to the so-called transatlantic slave trade, please provide me with some sources and please give me some insight. If you show me a genealogy, I'm gonna assume that, okay, all right, so you Indian because a Black man or a Black African slave mixed with a Native American, and that's what makes you Indian. I'm not going to dispute the fact that you are Indian. I'm only going to dispute the fact that, my whole premise of this whole series, or the Culture Freedom series, or any of the information that I put out there, it was in my observation that I seen Black people here before the transatlantic slave trade. And that is what led me to think two things. Either we was already here and we are the Indians. And then I had to kind of, because, you know, look, man, I'm just going to call it like it is, man. You know, a lot of people will be challenging me. A lot of people got a lot of smoke with me as far as the information. And I'm going to tell you like this, man. I don't get some of this. I don't believe some of you niggas, man. I don't. I don't believe some of you niggas. I don't believe some of you women. I don't believe some of these fake ass researchers that we got in our community neither. That can, you know, show you certain things, but then, you know, deviate and just show you any American Indian. Like, we not all American Indian. All these Indians that was in this continent, we are not them. So just to show a random Indian picture of some people who I never seen in my neighborhood, I'm going to question that. I'm going to question that. But I think that some of you guys, you should question it too. You know, I see a lot of people go along to get along to be, to, you know what I'm saying? Not to try to be, how do you say, argumentative, but you got to argue and question every fucking thing, bro. Because we've been living a lie for a long time, man, and we've been deceived as far as a lot of information, a lot of the research we got. You know, so you got to question every fucking thing. You have to question everything. And you have to ask yourself, how the fuck is there 54 to 60 million so-called Black Americans that are classified as African Americans when you still got Native Americans who claim they've been Native Americans from the time that the European came here, and your ass is classified as an African American? So you have to question it. You have to say, well, damn, you know, I lived in Black neighborhoods my goddamn whole life. I'm not telling you from a perspective where I'm coming from, a different place where there might be Black people and there are other mixed races of people who mix as a result of people who immigrated there and mixed with indigenous people. I'm telling you from a fucking aspect that I'm from fucking North America. I've been living in North America my entire life. I done been in everywhere from Maine to Florida, from Florida to Alabama, all the way up to Chicago. And every motherfucking city I see, we all look, we ain't gonna say we all look the same, because in certain places, you know, some of us might be a little bit more, you know, rougher. Like you go down south, you know, people tend to be more darker in the southern regions than in some of the other places. I get that point. But my whole thing is I'm going by observation and from the people I see. If it's 54 million of us and there's only 5 million so-called Native Americans or so-called so-called Indian tribes, you have to say, well, where do we fit in this perspective? Because if we're all Indians, if the 54 million of us are Indians, then why do they keep showing us a 5 million people and we will be the larger majority? So is some of them, the 54 million people, are they Africans or are they indigenous people who was here already? You have to explain to me. You really have to explain to me. Like I said, I'm confused. I'm confused by what I see. You know what I'm saying? And I know how people love to question me and people love to talk about the research and say what doesn't apply. We need to get this fucking shit straight before we can fucking go forward. Because I see a lot of other people is fucking confused too. They can just go along and get along. So I'm dropping the link right now. I want all the smoke. Anybody, I don't give a fuck if I don't fuck with you. You can come in and show and prove. Anybody, I don't give a fuck who you is. Please come in and show and prove. So they go to the link for whoever. Please, you know, come in and be kind. Don't come in and be disrespectful. I can be very disrespectful too. So please, just come in and just state your case, man, and just explain to the people. Because I'm fucking confused my goddamn self. You know what I'm saying? And I think the reason why a lot of Pan-Africans are confused because of the confusion that we allow other people to present. So, you know, you guys ain't checking, ain't checking, you know, the other motherfuckers who present this bullshit. And you shouldn't be saying shit about me, period. You know what I'm saying? The link is in there. I'm gonna drop the link 4 more times for you guys. You have it? Because I'm other than that, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna make culture freedom, and I'm just gonna put a disclaimer. Peace to all the Black Americans and all the African Americans and all the Native Americans. Peace to everybody. You know what I'm saying? I can't call us Aborigines at this point in time, because for us to be Aborigine, meaning that we had to be here from time of existence. And I don't get that. I don't get it. I see a lot of fuckery. I see a lot of confusion. And I just need people just to, you know, let the people know. Because a lot of people I speak to, they confused too. And they're confused from the perspective that other people present this information in. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I really don't respect a lot of you motherfuckers, man. Because you let a lot of this shit slide, a lot of this fuckery slide, and a lot of this fuckery, you know, it overlaps and other people catch it. Motherfuckers who really put the information out there and really been really in the trenches with this. I didn't get in this shit to be just showing you any Indian. I got in this shit for the love of my people and for the fact I felt like we were being deceived from people, from us, from black people was already here, and we was classified as Negro and colored. That's what I got into. I didn't get into this shit just to make some motherfucking mockery or be. Sorry, yo. Or to act like, you know, I got into this for my people. That's what I got into this for. I felt like we was being deceived. According to my historical properties that I've seen, I felt like we really was being deceived. So with that being said, let me see if anybody came in. All right, I'm going to drop the link again. The link is in there. I don't know if you guys are. Can you guys get the link for anybody who do want to come in? We got 175 people watching. I know at least five of you guys want to come in and at least give me update my information or you know what I'm saying, you know, or not convince me, but I'm confused. I'm fucking confused. I'm confused, and I'm just saying that to be, you know, I'm being honest with you guys. I'm confused with this history. We got a brother David Teller. Come on, man. Peace to God.
Peace to you, man. How you feel?
Hey, man, I'm splendid over here, man. You know, I'm splendid, man. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I heard the question. I heard the question. You want the proof, right? You want the proof. Like, how can you prove this?
But there's two perspectives with the proof, though. See, we gotta come from a reasonable explanation. All right, now, what are you going to prove to me? Are you going to prove to me that you're Indian today, or are you going to prove to me that your people have always been here? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to prove to me that black people was already in North America and in the Caribbean and in North South America before the transatlantic slave trade? Or are you going to prove to me, are you going to give me, because like if you fit it into a certain time length, I can always question that Africans came here and mixed with Native Americans. And yeah, you might be Indian, you might have some Indian, but are the Indians are who they call African Americans today?
Okay.
Question, but just
okay. All right.
I mean, my mic. Go ahead.
Okay.
Shout out to my brother getting to the root of it too. Peace.
Okay. So here's
peace.
How you feel?
You good, Dave?
You okay. Good. All right. So this was a question I had too. Legendary Top Cats, when he starts going into the information. One thing that I'm not seeing when it comes to the Africans is the connection. I'm gonna tell you why. Is because let's go back further. I'm not seeing the trade routes. I'm not seeing what did the Africans trade with the people of the Americas. What did they trade? Because for all of these trade routes, for us to be mixing, there would have to be an exchange. What was the exchange? We've heard of different. I think it's David Imhotep. He would say gold tip spears. There was already gold here. So what did we trade? That doesn't make any sense. Well, we carbon dated it. You carbon dated mummies. You carbon dated pyramids. Those things still don't add up to me either. So, and I think the people who do carbon dating are telling you that, yeah, we're off, and you know, our work is kind of questionable still. So what was traded? What was traded with any of the people? That and to me, that's the same thing that goes with, let's say people look at let's say people look at the brother Curry Mayo and they say, he's remodeling pictures, or recoloring pictures. He bring those into and I'm only saying his name because he does good work as far as presenting evidence, but there's still some unanswered questions with the evidence that everyone brings, and that's why you're doing a great job by saying you're confused, because
can I add that maize is one of the trades that they use because corn is indigenous to the Americas. It's actually a hybrid version of wheat and soy that was used for famine across the world. So that I can add.
You added that, but again, what was the exchange from the Africans? What did they give? What did they bring?
Work. They were they brought people to work in the fields.
There's already people here in the fields to work, bro.
No. Let me add this. As a nation, as we were nations, we were kings and queens. Kings and queens don't work. We didn't have a labor system. We didn't have people working we didn't work ourselves. And that was one of the reasons why everybody was so mad at us, because we had people working for us and they got benefits from that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
Hold on. Before you go on, David Teller, look.
Okay.
All right. Look, all right. No disrespect to anybody, right? We can get into the trade routes and all that. Once you prove to me, or you give me a greater understanding. If I ask you, all right, how can you tell me you're an Indian, right? I need you to elaborate on it. Even if you say you did your genealogy, right? So if you tell me, okay, I did my genealogy and my great grandmother was an Indian, right? Was your great grandmother? What was she? All right, she was a Negro or she was colored, right? So is she a Negro and color because she an African that mixed in with a Native American that came here on the slave trade, or was it black people here before the slave trade that would make all of us automatically to where we can even question the whole point? Because some people say that Africans were here. My research do not see the reason why why I doubt that is because it's like this, man. When you do research, right? Anybody have ever done a research fucking paper, you have to take pros and you have to take cons, okay? Now, if every story that you're presenting is just a pro to what you believe and you never challenge it with the cons, then that research doesn't stand up to nothing. So if I ask you, well, prove to me that it was black people in America before the slave trade, that would be one source to where I can say, all right, boom. I know that.
Now are we playing a color game? Because if we going by colors and instead of nationality, then it's confusing already. You understand? Because how can you signify the difference? Okay, let's say in this day and age, a person that has a white mother and a black father is considered a black person. So this is what I was trying to get at one time before. I was trying to get people to understand, how do we determine who is the Indian if we don't know what the actual Indian's description is? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I mean, because
can I say something? Can I say something? When you said a black father, so-called black, okay.
You go ahead.
I just want to put this that part about if it's you are what your mother is. So if you have a white mother, you are what your mother is. Those was fact, because I got mixed friends. I got mixed friends. I got mixed people. No, you're not the father seed. You are the mother, and it's always been like that here in America. That's what came up with.
I'm not going to argue with you about that. I just want to add to that. How can you?
I want to add to that.
If I had an apple seed, sister, if I had an apple seed and I planted it into soil, it's an apple tree. It's not the soil tree. Because the soil can make whatever the seed is planted in it. You get what I'm saying?
Well, according to all the people I know that's mixed, if their mother is white, they got white down on their paperwork.
Who determines that? That's the point. The reason why I brought that question up is because the people determine those terminologies. In my eyes, if you mix with a white person and a black person, then you black and you white. It ain't no determination between the two. But if we look at it from a natural perspective, then that person will be considered black because the seed itself is coming from someone that if he ain't mixed, right? If he doesn't have any mixture down the line, then that person will be considered a black person. You know what I'm saying? But in the eyes of today's status, we would say that person black and white, or you know, he's mulatto, or he's this and that. So we have to first.
We always stuck with the matriarch.
We
always stuck with the matriarch.
What was that?
Just saying. I just went by the matriarch. There was a reason why they went by the matriarch. It's a matriarch.
No, white people actually went by the matriarch. Black people went by the male.
That's not true.
Where do you see that in history? Where y'all see that in history? Now, if we go,
it's in our bloodline.
The reason why white people use the matriarch is because they came from a black woman. Listen, if we look at the biblical histories through Islam or through Christianity, they use the male figure because it's stating that God is stating he made man first, and then the woman is presented afterwards, because that's the same thing with the seed. The seed is planted and it creates it uses the woman to bring forth life, not being exactly that life. You know what I'm saying? So we have to determine the difference between all that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, who said God was a man?
Huh?
Who said man?
My voice, I can't hear shit on this thing.
Who said God was a man?
Man, this gonna turn into Negro.
My audio is going. My audio is fucking up. I can't hardly hear y'all.
Do it now. Say that again.
I said this is gonna turn into Negro Bible study, and it's gonna go off the topic.
No, I ain't gonna go there. But I'm just saying. All I'm doing. Go ahead.
Today is a man is still vagina, her vajayjay. So how he make man first? So right today, a man is not coming from a woman's not coming from his real. A woman, a man coming out.
You kind of loud because you screaming. We shouldn't make it a screaming match. You kind of loud. Just let's lower it down and just talk, because then I can hear you clearly. What I'm saying is,
I said a man came out of a woman's vagina. That's what I said. A woman never came from a man's rib.
So where did the woman come from?
When they brought Christianity.
Where did the woman come from?
Well, he made, as far as I can see, he made both, and both came together.
So, okay, all right. Okay, but we wasn't even really on that subject about man and woman. We was kind of just trying to determine how do we consider to say someone is an Indian or somebody is an African? How do we determine these things? Because we back to nationality. Because if we argue on the mother and father shit, we would be here all day talking about that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick. Hey, Joe Dropper, don't go nowhere. I got the panel is kind of full. Don't go nowhere though. I'm gonna definitely let you in, brother. You know, stay right. I don't know if that's.
Well, I'm going back.
Hold on, real quick.
I'm going back what my grandmama said.
Shalom Malachi, I'm here too.
All right, peace to everybody just arrived on the platform. So
peace, y'all.
I'll say the question one more time, right? I'm gonna say the question one more time so we be clear on the question, right? I mean, we could definitely have this discussion about the matriarch and the patriarch and the seed And you know, we could have that question another time. Like, I mean, we could definitely have that topic at another time. I just want to say, like, you see on the screen right here. Can y'all see this on the screen right here?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, now if I was to ask these people, were they Indians, and they tell me, yeah, are we Indians, right? Would you assume that they are Indians that mix with Africans, or would these be some of the phenotypes of what some of the original Indians looked like?
The full bloods.
All right, so then would be full blood Indians, right? Of the phenotype of what we see Indians looking like. So do any of these look like any fucking Mongoloids or any of these fucking people? And I understand it. And let me just clear this up too, right?
Mongoloids are natives.
Oh, no problem. My great-great-grandmother was half white and half black, okay? My mother was like a Leah complexion. So I'm not sitting up here telling my father looked like these people in the picture right here. So I'm not trying to even play the color game, but we have to. Because the people I see in my day-to-day journey and my day-to-day struggle, the people who they classify as African Americans look like this. I'm not all of us. Some of us might be light, some of us might have green eyes, some of us might have brown eyes. I get all that point. I'm talking about the people who look like this. Are these fucking Africans or are these indigenous fucking people?
Those are full blood
indigenous.
Hey,
I'm being devil's advocate. I want to be devil's advocate. That's why I'm asking the questions, because when you look at that picture, who can and say, for instance, that picture itself, who's to say that picture is not from Asia or India?
What about this one right here?
Yeah, now that's a little bit better. Okay, so how can we determine out of all these people in this picture, right? How can we determine who's a full-blooded or indigenous person of America? And how do we determine who can possibly be an African, someone from India, someone from Asia? Because it's dark-skinned people all over this place. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you got Africans that claim that they're American too. You got Asians that's dark-skinned that claim that they're Americans as well. So a lot of these things we gotta, like you said, we gotta look at the people and their history and then determine that. Like I found out maybe 2 weeks ago, my mother, I thought that my grandfather was originally from Mississippi. Come to find out that my grandfather's family is originally from Oklahoma. And they was in Oklahoma and they got kicked out for the color of their skin. They were all darker, so-called melanated people, right? In a tribe, and was kicked out by white people that entered the tribe through the removal acts and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't pass the brown paper bag test is what it was, because they was considered dark. I got a picture of my great grandmother. I mean, my second great grandmother. You could tell she's straight up and down Indian. Her features, everything, still look like the Indians.
Right.
And this was back in the late 1800s. So she would have been considered kicked out herself because she was dark. Even though her hair came all the way down past her ass, she was still dark skinned. So I get it. And if y'all do the migration when they went up through there, and those was left on the trails of tears. Research that was India, but there was 5 different sets of Indian in Tulsa, Oklahoma when they blew it up.
Right.
It tells you, and you can pull this up. Those was Indians there.
Right. And real quick, too. Real quick. I'm gonna let everybody go real quick. I just want to say this too about the hair thing. You know, sometimes when I say shit about the hair or whatever, and I know some of us got different types of the hair. It's just this, right? Prior to 1990, the majority of women wore their original hair. When I was going to school, either you had a jerry curl, or you had braids, or you had your hair straightened. You was not wearing no weave. You was not wearing no weave.
That's big.
You was not wearing no stripes. You was not wearing. When you look in the videos when you look in the rap videos in the 90s, women got their real hair. They ain't got no fucking weaves. They might have braids, some of them, depending on where you was at. But the majority of women you see prior to 1990, they have their original hair. So everybody, all of us, all the women, excuse me,
that's before the drag queens got involved in
or the harlot lifestyle,
into
or
the
the
music
harlot lifestyle.
right
Yeah.
before the drag queens start showing them how to. That's when you start seeing the RuPaul's, and that was like mid '90s, and then that's when you start seeing women with weaves and altered eyelashes and all that
Now
stuff.
we always wore a lot of us always wore like the elderly. A lot of them even with their own hair, they would braid their own hair up and wear a wig on.
Right.
That's
so
nothing new.
You gotta take this
If
in
you go
consideration,
back, especially down here in the South. Yeah.
So look,
A lot of people down here in the South, the older women. What you say?
Hold up, stay right there, Empress. Look, keep it at that point right there.
They showed Tina Turner.
Okay.
You see that movie Tina Turner? You seen that they was wearing wigs in the movie Tina Turner, so you know.
I mean, because there was actors. It was like we know Dream, we know Diana Ross. I'm saying like this. Understand what I'm telling you.
Oh, Daily. You talking about Daily? Wearing? Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Listen to what I'm telling you, right? Anybody who cares past their soul, you ain't. I mean, you can have a big ass afro, but
okay, Lila?
I never seen a motherfucker with an afro. At some point in time, the hair is going to drop down because the hair is going to weigh a certain amount. So your hair is going to hey, right?
It
your
conforms.
Hair, it's going to conform
to the way you continuously shape it.
It doesn't mean that you got straight hair though. It just means that your hair is so long to a point to where the hair, the weight of the hair was so heavy to where it dropped on its own. So I'm a bar. I used to cut hair, so I know I've seen niggas with all different types of hair. I seen niggas with spiral hair. I seen niggas with straight hair. I mean, I seen niggas that when you cut their hair down, the texture of it is kind of it's not straight, but it's not. But these niggas can still get afro. So my question is this. This is my ultimate question. Like, do y'all believe Africans came here? Yes or no? Or what? Okay. Was it people here that looked at like Africans if you believe Africa? I don't believe it. I don't believe Africans came. I don't give a fuck.
They all came after the civil rights movement. They all came.
Right. Okay.
Hey, salute everyone. Y'all mind if I say something?
Can I say something? Go ahead, sweetie.
Y'all mind if I say something real quick? Shilu Malache, man. Shilu mean peace to everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is my first time on the panel. I just want to shout out to A1 Copper Empress Holbert, man. I ride with y'all, fuck with y'all, man. But let me say something real quick. In regards to this whole seed and bloodline thing, we aren't we ain't a matriarchal and we're not a patriarchal people, but we are a matrilineal people.
Okay.
But when you're dealing with, let me say this. We need to leave these Caucasian words alone and watch what we're saying because it causes us to go at it with each other. Those of us who are from the South and the East, we know we had big mamas. Big mama ran every motherfucking thing. Period.
Facts.
Ain't nothing to talk about. Big mama ran it. Now, when you're dealing with the matrilineal system, you're not dealing with women running everything. What you're dealing with is your heredity and you're dealing with your birthright. You're dealing with blood. You're dealing with bloodline. You are in your mother's womb for 9 months, give or take. You are going to be your mother's blood. Now, unless your dad has the same blood type, 9 times out of 10, if your mother's type O blood, you're going to be O blood. Now, on the flip side, you have the patrilineal side, which deals with the seed. We are our father's seed, but it depends on what your culture uses to identify your heritage. So we know when you're dealing with Asia, and I'm talking about so-called Africa, I'm talking about Europe, that side of the world in the Americas. In the Americas, we use bloodline. This is when you get into something called clans. We didn't have tribes. We had clans. All right. Now, we can't generalize when you're dealing with the Americas because it's so diversified when you're dealing with complexions and hair styles and facial features and things of that nature. No Indian clan looks exactly the same. You have different hair textures, but you do have specific clans. I'll give you an example. You have the Ichogalagi clan, which is the deer clan. They have specific features to where even to this day, when you see them, you say, damn, they Indian. But it's not that they're the only ones that are Indians, it's that they have a specific look based off their bloodline, which is a clan. We don't have tribes. We have clans, we have bands, we
You're
have
right.
sub clans, and we have sub bands. When we get off into these words that confuse us, then we start to argue. So everybody is right, but it depends on your culture and your heritage. If you have a big mama, your ass use the matrilineal system, period. But that doesn't mean that women was running everything and men was running everything, and that don't mean men was running everything and women wasn't running everything. This is one of the reasons why we was having all these wars over here, these civil wars, is because when you had a lot of these Asiatic people coming over here, and I mean black Europeans, white Europeans, and I call them Asians because all that shit over there is Asian. I don't care what nobody tell me. It's two continents. It's two. So when all of them came over here, they looked at us funny because women was running things. That doesn't mean men wasn't in power. If you look up, you find all types of different chiefs. But the difference is the women were in government, and the women, because they have that intuition, they were picking a lot of these chiefs. You couldn't be a chief if you didn't go through the government. It's the same thing with the big mama system. The big
The
mama system don't
clan.
come from Africa. It don't come from Africa. That is here. That's an American culture. It has nothing to do with Africa. I'm not saying there were no Africans that come here. There were. However, there wasn't an overwhelming majority to the point to where if you have one or two Africans in your bloodline, that's enough to usurp who you are, because you still have your culture today. You still have it.
Same thing
You
like
still
that with
have it.
white people too. With the
So, but
Caucasian, it's the same thing.
Hey,
Same
look,
way.
well, that's
real
true. You
quick.
have, but you
Hold on.
also have a lot of these Caucasians that's using our stuff. I talk to people all the time at work about this, and they'll tell me, I'll have a Caucasian or a Eurasian tell me, "Hey, you know what? We used to call our great grandma Big Mama." Yeah, that's because you borrowed American culture. You wasn't
Hmm.
calling your great grandma Big Mama in Europe.
True.
Period.
All right,
That
so
comes
look,
from
all right,
here.
Man,
So
quick
we have to focus
question.
on the culture, the heritage, because our ancestors left us clues. And anytime we start using words that confuse us and that aren't our terms and we don't understand them, then it causes conflict. So
Well,
Copper
Big
Empress, she
Mama,
right, but then the brother's right too. But if
Big
you are
Mama. But
from the
see,
Americas,
that's why I
but see,
said
if
that,
you
because
from the Americas though,
Big Mama always put the father or the chief on top. So she's the overseer. You know what I'm saying?
she
But
is
the
the day
king,
to day. That's what I'm saying. She runs the government. She
right,
runs it.
right,
We
that's
had a big
why.
daddy too. You have a big daddy too. But
right.
when you
That's why you have
if any of you
clan
get
mothers,
married, who runs the house? Who keeps the house in order?
Right.
Big mama.
The
But
sister. The sisters do,
yeah, but
They're
the
the,
not the
sister,
men.
the
they're the,
sister, but the man makes the final decisions
No,
far as
no, no. It depends on what it is. See, that's what I'm saying. We
that's
are
it.
so hung up
Then we
on
gender
having.
role
We
changing.
are
And see,
no, no,
that's another
no. Let me
form. And it,
let me explain. Let me explain. I know
go
where you're
ahead, go
going.
ahead.
I know where you're going. What I'm saying
Right,
is we have to understand what we're dealing with. Every situation is not the same. You know what I'm saying?
right.
You can't use a fork to eat everything. You have to use it for something specific. It's something called
woo,
context.
say that.
That's
What I'm
true.
saying is, when it comes to matters of house, a kingdom, a government, it's a house. It's a kingdom. The women are involved. It's a 50-50 thing because we were created with certain natures. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
When you're in your house, 9 times out of 10, when you go ask somebody to go outside, it's your mama. The only time you
right.
go ask your dad is when your dad say, "What your mama say?" And she said, "Well, she say it's up with whatever you say." And she said, "All right, well, she that's
Exactly.
cool with
That's what
me."
I said.
So
I said
my point is,
the final
your
decision.
right. No, that's not every time because you don't always go. See, you missed the point. You don't always go to him. It's only when Big Mama or the mama tells you to go to him. Because Big Daddy is cool with whatever Mama say. Period. They on the same accord. It ain't a competition on who gets the last say so. It's a
I
structure
understand
based
that. That's
off
why
the
I was gonna say
nature
it was
and how we
it's
were
order.
created. When I grew up, listen, man, I'm 38. I'm almost 40. I'm not the oldest dude in the bunch, but I knew both my great grandparents. Okay, when my
Hmm.
first great grandparent died, my big mama dear, when she passed, you know, I was 30.
Hmm.
When my other great grandma passed, I was about 10. So the culture is the culture is embedded in us. We just have to pay attention to what is going on and not what we
That's
want.
a fact.
That don't mean you don't get a say. That just mean if it ain't got nothing to do with you, what you asking for? I don't care. Listen, man, I don't care if my son goes outside. If mama know he going outside and she give him permission, that's fine. But if I catch him outside and I ask him, hey, what you doing outside? Your mama tell you to come outside? No. What the hell you doing out here then? And like I say, it's in our culture.
But
When you're dealing with America, when you're dealing with them,
that's a small form of order, though.
No, that's
See,
not a small form of order. The order is the same because it's something based off of nature. You don't
I
have.
get that.
That's what I'm
I get
saying.
what you're saying.
It's just we have been brought up in the patrilineal system. If you are indigenous, if you are American, and that's what you're saying, and you grew up this way, you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
If you come from somewhere else and you are if you are a patriarch, you don't understand it and you don't get it. But what I'm
Right.
saying is, as me being a man and knowing how shit functions, we are a matrilineal people. I remember walking around and people would say, "Hey man, who's your mom?" And I say, "Oh, my daddy." Such they say, "Man, I ain't asked you who your daddy was. Your mother's baby, father's maybe. You're your mother's blood. There's nowhere around it."
Facts.
So in the Americas, we use bloodline. You do not get your bloodline from your father. Period. You get your seed from your father. But like I'm saying,
See,
it depends
this
on
is
what
why
your
I
culture
understand
is.
that. I understand
Right.
all that.
So that's what I just
But
wanted to clear that up,
like
man. I ain't.
A1 said it has to be. You can say that all day, but in order for you to figure out the exact thing that you're saying, it has to be. We have to we have to do this stuff ourselves, meaning science. We have to be the scientist. We have to have the studies ourselves and have that exact information. That way we can prove it to our people instead of we
Well,
just saying that's what it is.
that's what I'm saying. You have that. That's why do you think all the people in your family 9 times out of 10 when they tell you they were Indian, it's always a woman.
Right. No,
It's always a woman. You get
actually
what I'm
my
saying? Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying
I get
I'm not I didn't say all the time. I'm saying most of the
right.
time it's gonna be the woman. Why? Because here we went through the female bloodline. You're in your mom womb 9 or 10 months. Ain't no way you're not coming out with a lot of her not I ain't gonna say uh, uh physical features because some, my daughter, she looked like me. But her
Right.
blood is gonna be her mother's blood. That's how it works. We went by blood. Period. So when you say that, it separates a culture that we have two cultures. You could just divide them up into two cultures just to make it
Mhm.
clear. You have this American culture or ancient American culture, which is matrilineal, and then you
Right.
have the Asiatic. And when I say Asiatic, I'm talking about Asia, I'm talking about Europe. All that shit's connected, man. It's two continents. Okay. Islands are connected to whatever landmass that's near to it. You get what I'm saying? So
Now
they are
can I add to
right. I'm gonna just finish and I'm gonna fall
go
back.
ahead, brother.
They're patriarchal over there. So this is one of the conflicts we had when you had a lot of these foreigner and immigrants coming over here and they saw the way we were doing and running our governments. They looked down on us because they saw women chiefs. They saw women war chiefs. They saw us going through the female bloodline for our heritage. They look down on that. When you deal with most African cultures and all European cultures that I'm familiar with, they are patrilineal. Period. Your mother, that's
And
where you
you
get your
know why
bloodline
they
from.
did that
And it's not
for
like I
our
say, this shit ain't
people?
that hard. It's not that
Why?
complicated. We're falling away from what our ancestors were doing and what they were teaching, and then we are creating it. And the problem with that is when we use terms like black and Lord forgive me, you know what I'm saying? I'll fuck with you A1 or whatever, but when we use general terms like Moor, it creates a conflict because it has nothing to do with heredity. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's not dealing with bloodline. It's not dealing
Because
with
that, like I
culture.
said, it ain't saying it's not particularly saying your nation. It's not explaining your written nation. When I say that, I mean like your clans. Like in one nation, it could be many clans, but they all under one bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All right, so
That's
all
not
right,
true. That's not true.
So,
hold on.
No, that
so,
can't. That's true. You know why that's true?
Uh,
It's
Can
because
you
you
that's
can
not
guys
be a
true.
hear
Brown, you can be a Smith, you can be a Johnson, you can be Ellis, you can be all these many different nations under one umbrella. That's why when you go to a family reunion, you have many different last names because of the exchange of
Pause right
different.
there. Pause right there, real quick, my brother. And this is my point. When you
Right.
dealing with clans and tribes, is not the
Mhm.
same. We were too many people to have tribes. We
I
were
never said
clans
tribe.
and
I never
bands. And,
subscribed
and
to a
listen to what I'm
tribe,
saying.
bro.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying, brother. You know what I'm saying? When you study our culture, all clans were not related. Clans are specific bloodline. That's why you couldn't marry within the clan, because it's the same blood.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Now,
Right.
we come from the same bands or the same kingdoms, but
Right.
everybody was not the same blood. That's what I'm saying. We're using terms that we're trying to generalize, and that's the problem with Pan-Africanism. It generalizes everything. We
Right.
have to study. We have to study what clans mean.
You're can y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
We gonna have to have some you know what I'm saying? Like when I try to answer a question, you're gonna have to like let me get in. I don't mind you guys talking or whatever, but nobody has answered my motherfucking question yet.
Oh, my bad, bro. I ain't hear you. Go ahead.
About millennium, we talking about that wasn't my question. We all and I'm not trying to be sarcastic or trying to be funny neither. I wanna make myself clear on what I'm saying. Okay. My whole thing is this, right? This is my whole thing. Now I gotta go by off of colors because we're all classified. The majority of us are classified as a description. Now it ain't always a color because Negro is not a color, even though that some people will say Negro is a color, but Negro is a particular status that was passed on by the Catholics. What I'm saying is this. This is what I'm saying. Okay. You see this picture right here?
Yeah.
All right. You see the picture right there. All right. Now, all these people, despite the fact that some of these niggas might be Dare Clan, Potato Clan, clan, or whatever, what do they got these people classified as today?
Negroes. I mean African Americans.
Why do we have to use their classification? That's what I'm saying.
Bro, hold on, bro.
Why are we using their classifications, A1? That's all I want to know.
We're using it as we could change it once we get a full understanding.
No. What I'm saying is we have to do what our ancestors was doing. When we start identifying ourselves by the way foreigners do, then I'm not making it hard, bro. All I'm saying is when you tell me, okay, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. I understand everything you saying is valid, my brother. I'm not disputing anything you saying.
All right,
I'm only going by off the classification of people who don't fucking know who they are. I'm not worried about the people who know who they are.
Right.
And then, see, that's where we get confused. We get confused from what we know what people don't know. I can't walk up to a black person and ask them like, yo, you Apple, you Dare Clan, you Bear Clan, and they don't know nothing about that. I have to walk them down and give them understand. That's what I'm not, listen, we know we're not black, we know we're not Negro, we know we're not color, we know we're not African American. All right, but for the sake of understanding and trying to get some level of understanding, bro, you just provided some great content. But my question is this. This is my question. These people on the screen right here will be classified as African Americans, black, Negro, fucking blue, brown, copper.
According to immigrant customs, yes.
But no problem. According to that,
let me just say that. Let me say this real quick, A1. Let me say this real quick. This is the issue that I'm saying that we're having as a people. When we can't get to the root of the problem if we're using foreigners' ideologies or social structures to identify ourselves. It's not going to happen. It's up to what I'm saying is this. Check this out. It's up to people. Hold on. Check. Hold on, A1. Check this out, bro. I ride with you, bro. Real talk. I ride with you. But what I'm saying is, it's up to individuals like us who know who we are to wake up the individuals that don't know who they are. The clan thing, the clan. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me close it out. Let me close it out, big bro. Let me close it out. Knowing that you are indigenous and been here before colonists got here, no matter whether those colonists were melanated or whether those colonists were Caucasian, is the first step. When you step and you put that coat on and you start to do your own research, this is why genealogy is key. We can't do everybody genealogy for them, man. If they don't want to do it, that's them. You can't have people coming in to the fold who don't know who they are and don't give a fuck who they are and don't want to do the time to do the research and try to make a certain level to where you can agree with them. They're not supposed to be with you. We don't need millions and millions of people. It was never like that. We were never on one accord. We was banging against each other. So what I'm saying is we need to start studying our ancestors' culture. And then when we study the ancestors' culture, that's when we're dealing with the absolute truth. We're not dealing with facts. We're getting it from the horse's mouth. So it doesn't matter what the Caucasian or the Eurasian or the melanated European says. It don't matter what they say. Their culture is completely opposite than us. That's why we have always been banging against each other, because our heritage and our culture is different. So they look down on us. So we can't use them to come to an agreement. It's not going to happen. Let me say this real quick on this platform, man, and then I'm going to fall back. Our ancestors have paved the way for us. They knew who they were. Like I say, I knew my big mama, and she didn't never stutter when she knew when it was asked who she was or where she came from and where her people come from. The reason why I know who I am today is because my big mamas and because of my grandmother's thing. When I was young, it's your culture. So you just looking at it like nothing. When we was riding them horses with no shirts on, with cowboy hats to the damn stove, your partner next to you riding it backwards, that shit don't come from Africa, man. That's a cultural thing. It's no way around it. It also has to do with the way you're actually brought up too. You can't just say you're African because you're African. So what I'm saying is this, and I fuck with everybody on the panel, real talk. You know what I'm saying? But me, I'm about the ancestors and plugging back into what the ancestors was doing right. Because, of course, they did some things wrong. We all know that. We all do things wrong. But they left us a blueprint, and they all left us crumbs, and they all left us pieces of the puzzle. A1, Empress, Holbert, me, and other soul brothers and sisters out there, we all have pieces to the puzzle. And once we put these pieces together, we actually make the picture that our ancestors left from us. But once we start using these Caucasian labels, these sociological titles, we're going to start conflicting with each other. And all I want to do is just say this one last thing. We know who we are. So if we want to generalize, we don't have to use the word black. We're not black people. Who we are, do everybody want to hear who we are generally? Generally speaking, using one term to identify who we are soul people, period. We're not black. We're not Negroes. We're not colored. We are soul people. Now, in English, we're soul people. If you say it in Gusa, you would say Solokchi Malache. So depending on what language or dialect your clan speak, you would still say soul people, because soul is nothing but a synonym among us. It's like slang for ancient ones. We're not black. We're soul people. So when we start using foreign shit, then we have a problem. So hold on, let me just finish. Let me just say this, A1. I'm gonna fall back. I swear. I'm gonna fall back. Let me.
If you're not gonna let me talk, bro.
No. I'm gonna let you talk. Real talk. I'm just trying to finish my thought. I'm gonna fall back. I ain't even gonna say nothing after this. What I'm saying is, hold on. A1, just let me finish. I know it's your panel. I'm gonna be respectful. Let me finish. I'm going somewhere.
Gotta have some, like, you can't go nowhere, and if I'm trying to stop you, you can't, you're gonna have to have some respect, bro. I understand.
No, I got respect.
Do you want me to mute you, or you want to listen to what I'm saying to you, bro?
Can I just finish and I'm gonna fall back?
I'm not letting you finish. No. All right. So my question to you is this. This is my question to you. You provided some good information. So now I got some questions for you, and they not nothing negative. I enjoy everything you said, but this is my question to you, right? How long have you been practicing the Indian or Aborigine culture?
Ever, bro. Forever.
Right. So you one of the brothers who happened. You one of the brothers or sisters. Now hold up. Let me say my point, bro.
Okay.
You one of the brothers and sisters who basically still had your culture intact, right? So you had your culture intact. So everything you said, you knew, you grew up on. So you never identified as an African American?
No. That shit is new. No, I didn't.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
All right, I'm 44. So you never. Okay. Is anybody?
Did you? Let me ask you this: did you grow up with your big mama? Did you? When I say big mama, I mean your great grandparents. Your great grandparents.
My big mother told me we was Indians, but she also was a Christian. So
yeah, that's because we all had. That's a whole nother topic right there. We all had to assimilate at some point.
So she didn't follow her exact diagram to what her ancestors. She did.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Can I respond? Yeah. What I'm saying is, all of us are lost to a certain extent. Even the Indians who are on, even the real Indians, the full blood Indians who are on reservations right now, who look like us, because they're there. They look like us, and they don't speak the language. They're lost too. They just know a little bit more than we do. All of us are lost to a certain extent, and all of us assimilated to a certain extent. That doesn't mean when you say culture, that means everything. My grandmother farmed. I never seen a Walmart or a super HEB, man. We went to meat markets. We pumped our water from a well in the backyard. We raised chickens. We farmed. We
Okay.
lived the culture of Indians. When we wash clothes, we used the washboard. I didn't know what a fucking washing machine and dryer was, bro. We hung them in the backyard.
So how do you?
This
So
is
when you
Indian
Yeah.
culture.
so when
No,
you look
Indian
at
culture.
he ain't lying. In the
All of
South,
us are
we were
lost.
still
All
doing
of us
that.
are lost to a certain extent. Even the ones who are on reservations, they don't speak the language. A lot of them don't speak the language.
But
Right.
see,
All of us are lost.
A1, what A1 is getting at, that
Like
see,
man,
y'all from the South. I'm in the North. I'm in the North. So, but I
Right.
was raised in Illinois. I'm up north, but I was raised in Illinois. My grandparents are from the South. Now, like majority of
The
us
reason
that's
for
in
that.
the North, now, like majority of us that's in the North, family is from the South.
The reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reason for that. And we all know the reason they're here. You know what I'm saying? They came up north. You know what I'm saying? But what you have to understand for my brothers and sisters that live in the South, y'all have to understand culturally, a lot of people in the North have lost that knowledge. So if it's all these people that's in the North that don't have the knowledge, that live their regular life, but they want to understand some things, but then you got people that's in the South. See, I know my heritage because my great grandparents were in the South, and I had chance to experience that and understand where we come from and where we are originally from. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Now,
Right.
what I'm saying is, you got people in the South. Now, you talk for about 15 minutes, right? And everything you said, it's for the us people that's on the phone. We understand what you're saying, but the average person that we trying to wake up can't grasp one person saying that to them, because a lot of the people that's around is brainwashed from, you can tell somebody about something normal and he'll say, what book did you get that out of?
Right.
We knew that things was explained to us through word of mouth. That's how we got our news. That's how we understood history. That's how we understood everything. And that's why all of us are on the phone now, is because of the things that was passed down through verbal transfusions. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
what A1 is saying is, how do we explain these things to the average person to get them to understand that they're not African American? They actually, are multitudes of tribes. But even if they research the information, it can get dropped. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
things have been taken away. Parents people don't associate with their parents, and things in that association where they can't get information. See, the drugs and all the liquor and all that stuff that infested our society is kind of making it where it's foggy to get the information. But then the two on the counter of that, those ones that's on reservations, and you not on a reservation, but you have information, but these are two different forms of information. So it can be confusing to the average person when he's researching his history, when you got somebody that's on a reservation wearing feathers and singing peacock songs and stuff, and a regular person that's in the South that eat watermelon and listen to Frankie Beverly and Mays. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
a different understanding when it comes to understanding your history, because like you said, we all come from clans, and that means
Clans, not tribes.
everybody have a different form of understanding of each clan, because each clan has its own traditions.
And
You
they look
understand what I'm
different too.
saying? So you can't take the average Negro that's on the street and say, "Hey, man, you Cherokee." You know what I'm saying?
No,
Because
they gonna argue.
your clan
But
history
hey,
doesn't.
but you know why? Because in their minds, when you talk to them, and I love talking to people one on one, man. I don't really get on the panel. This is only my second time
No,
really
it's
getting
cool.
on the
That's what you
panel.
need to do.
But
We need
but
to
but
we
but
need
but
to we
but
need people to
but the
hear this.
difference is what I've learned to talking to people, and I like to talk to people one on one so I can figure out how people's minds
Right,
work. I've been
right,
doing
right.
this. I've been
That's
doing
what
this
the
for
whole
about 5
conversation
years.
is about. See,
So
look, who is
right,
that
right, right.
talking? Oh, state your name because I need to know who you are.
I'm Copperhead, man. Copperhead Outlaw.
Piece of the Copperhead Outlaw. Now, my question is this. Now, look, that's the whole. You just schooled me on some shit that I teach and I already know. Like, I'm not telling you from ignorance, calling us black or saying we got. I know we got to throw these terms away. But for the people who don't know what the timeline is, like you could teach them all this, but you have to have an identity point for them to understand. So, what you get on a rant. Now, hold up. You just went on a rant. Like everything you said, I can identify with, and I'm quite sure a lot of other people identify with it. Now, my question to you is this, right? Do you have people in your family that look like African Americans?
No, because there's no such thing.
Oh my God, bro! Nah, we can't get nowhere then, bro.
Yeah, we can. You can. You have to listen, bro. Listen, just because.
Hey, well, you can't get mad at him because he got his own history, man.
You got y'all. Hold on. If y'all don't agree with my perspective, that's fine.
I agree.
But
I agree with you,
saying. But what I'm saying is this: y'all missed the point. Copper Empress Hobart, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Now I already told y'all what the solution was. You just missed it. I'm not missing the point. I heard everything you said. What I'm saying is we're calling ourselves what our ancestors did. And anytime we do that, man, they gonna put their foot on our neck and they ain't gonna let up because the ancestors ain't behind us. Just let me finish, man. Our ancestors generally called ourselves soul people. Everybody who is in the South and even in the East know who that is, and they know that has nothing to do with Africa. So what I'm saying is we should be calling ourselves. And
we was known around the world as the soulful people.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been saying that. We got soul food, soul people. We eat the same thing. We have the same culture. I said that, but you missed it.
So brother. If you look up my research, you'll find that I have been telling people this for maybe 10 to 15 years, bro.
I'm not saying you haven't, but what I'm saying is on this call and on this conversation right now, we're going back and forth about what we should collectively be calling ourselves. And what I'm saying is it's simple. The ancestors already laid it out. It's soul people. No matter what language you speak, you say it in French. You say it in, like I said, you say it in the Indian language. You can say Sholokchi Malache. You can say Solokchi Okola. You can say it in English, which is soul people. It's the same thing. It depends on the dialect your ancestors were speaking, but generally speaking, we are soul people. So we should be teaching our people not only that they're indigenous, but they are soul people and what that actually means. Because if they don't know because they're young, their dads know.
That's true. But see, what he's saying is, how do you determine? But see, we get that. We get everything you're saying is right. But you listen to the point that he was saying that.
Hold on. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is fucking Ahanu Kiel, aka Nah, fuck that. I've been teaching this shit for a long motherfucking time. I refer to people as African American. I don't want because you talking to me like I'm ignorant and I don't understand.
No, I'm not talking to you like you're ignorant.
It's coming off that way to me. Like,
all I'm saying is y'all asked me a question and I'm answering the question. Everybody knows who soul people is. If you ask white people, they will tell you that's y'all.
We know everything you saying. What I'm asking.
So what are we debating then?
It ain't a debate. It's not a debate. You know a little bit.
What are y'all disagreeing with then?
Oh, you know.
Whether there was Africans here or the so-called Africans that traveled way before any slave trade, because this is what they want to keep saying, that the Africans left Africa and came over to America. Now we calling ourselves in. I get what you're saying. But we was on every continent, and it wasn't due to nobody taking us anywhere. How can you populate the whole world like this by starting people in one damn spot? There's no way you can do it. There's no way you can do it.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question to everybody on the panel? Can I just ask one question to everybody on the panel? Just one question. Just one question.
No. Answer my question first, brother.
I thought I answered it, but go ahead.
No, you didn't answer. All right. So let's say
you're not soul people then, right?
No,
I'm a soul brother.
I'm a soul brother too. Listen.
What we talking about?
No, it's not what you talk. We understand. You understand, but it's people out there who don't understand like you do.
They don't.
So you gotta. So you hold up, brother. Brother, you
missing the point, man.
No, I'm not missing the point. I understand everything you're saying. I know there's no such people as called African American, but you got people who are American Indians
really believe it,
who fucking do believe it. So what I'm asking
yes.
you okay? You know what? You answered your question, but for my answer is this to you. My question is this to you, right? The people who are so-called African Americans, right? They're not. We know they're not real. We know they don't exist. We know there's no such group of people like that. But the people in your family that do look like them, the people who proclaim to be this, who don't know everything you just said. You have people in your family that look like a so-called African American. Whether the term is real to you, was it not real to you? You got.
Can I ask something, A1? What is an African?
I mean,
What do an African look like? Can somebody tell me? Because we keep going. That's the question.
That's what I'm
What do
saying. We're not using our ancestors
like?
using, man. This is what's gonna happen, man. It's
Can I
simple,
get in
man.
on the conversation? I want to say peace to everybody.
Yeah, go ahead. Peace, AP. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a dope conversation, man. But like I said, I want to hear more of a direct answer to the question, because we can't go back and just ask grandma and our great grandparents, because we got to understand by the time us, just speaking them, right? By the time we started asking questions to our grandparents, right? To Big Mama and Papa, they was already colonized and indoctrinated as well, right? So we're gonna
But they
get
knew
a
more than us, though.
conglomerate of answers, right? Say what?
I said, but they knew more than us as far as our genealogy goes. So
Well,
they brought us a step closer, and then we're supposed to
well,
take it further.
I can't say that, because I done had these conversations, and I don't know if people really out here having these conversations with your elder. You know, I don't know you, brother, but if you having these conversations with the elder in general, that most of them, it's not going to tell you that they Indian. They're going to tell you that they are black, that they from here, they are people from the South, blah, blah, or that this area. The common person don't know how to get into the origin of what it is. That's why it takes for other people to have another understanding to bring it to our grandparents. If we was to leave everything up to the answers to our grandparents, you would get a lot of I don't knows. You understand?
And me,
But if
me
you really
personally,
having these conversations,
I got that coming from my grandma and them, because every family reunion we had one every year, and they always put the family tree up and say where we started at. She was they called her Cherokee, but now we know this Aniawea. So I got that from my family.
And so you being one of the, and I'm not saying you, it's probably a handful of other people, but I'm saying the vast majority, right? I'm not talking to the one who happen to have these paperwork, which 9 times out of 10 the other people don't. We know that these people was assimilated. They gave up tribal rule. They was classified as something else. They was put in the servitude. A lot of people don't got these paperwork. The average person that you ask, you gonna get a lot of I don't knows. Trust me. I'm having these conversations.
We had to put in perspective. We had to put in perspective that so a lot of people were in adoption agencies. A lot of people were put in different positions than the average person that has the knowledge. That's why I was trying to make a point about that. All our people have been destroyed through this system that we're all involved in. So we have to put it in perspective to go out and find a way to get this information to people, to get them to understand, even if it's simple as saying, hey, you're not black, you're Indian. You know what I'm saying? And let's figure a way to find out what Indian tribe you come from, or clan you come from, and let me help you find this. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the thing that we have to do. We have to everything that we do, we have to do shit pro bono right now. Everybody that have the information, everybody that have the information have to do it pro bono. We go online, all these cats that do this shit, they got to get some dollars from somebody to do it and this and that. You ain't no difference than a white man when it comes to you getting your information. We have to we need to make a forum where niggas can go and actually find their family history, because we got people that's on the ground level that's doing things because he know how to do it. But what happens is we get people that get the knowledge, and the first thing they want to do is they want to sell it to their people. And that's an issue, because you got people that have been adopted since they were children, or someone was, parents passed away, and then they end up going with the father's side, so they don't know the mother side of the family. All this plays a part. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just keep saying, oh, this is the way we are. We got to use the simple things to get people to understand.
But another thing we have to also,
real quick,
another thing,
real quick. The brother Copper Hawk, right? You familiar with the work, right? You see the videos I'm posting up there, the elders talking, right?
Say that again.
Are you familiar with the posters that I'm putting up there of me just engaging
to people?
Black Americans? Are you familiar with them videos, right?
Some of them from probably like a couple years ago. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about recently. Recently, go back to the
yeah. I seen a couple where you was asking, did they have Indian in it? Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so question.
Those are older people though. Yeah.
But them
we ain't old. Beg your pardon.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. When he was asking the older people, like when they was in the store.
But look, listen. Them are people who's supposed to know more about their culture than us, because them will be the people that passed it down. So now my question is this. Do you see some of these I don't post everything, but
right, for sure.
Okay, so when I'm telling you with some of these conversations, you got people who say, oh, I'm Black and I'm African American. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm Indian and I'm African American, or I'm Indian and I'm Black, and I have to go and explain to them, right, what the difference is. So what I'm telling you is, see, we got this certain perspective of what a fucking Indian look like. Now, my thing is this: the Indians that look like Africans, are they fucking Africans or are they fucking Indians? Because there is Indians that look like, okay. So now all Indians had fucking mongoloid features or dark mongoloids. The people in the South that's classified as African American, a large majority of them are fucking Indians who don't fucking know it, right?
Right.
You asking me a question?
I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
I'm saying ain't no mongoloid American Indians. Ain't no such thing.
They native.
They native. They native.
Okay,
they native. They native.
Right.
They call Native American.
Okay, all right.
And that's what I'm saying.
Bro, we got you. You being too politically correct for this conversation.
I'm not being too politically correct. I'm being correct.
Okay, well, maybe
there is no such thing as, and that's what we have to show our people who don't get it. They need to know in their mind, because when you say, that's what I say. I haven't been on YouTube and I haven't been posting a whole bunch of videos. I haven't, but I've been talking to people one-on-one, and I love to talk to Eurasian and foreigners. When I ask them who Soul People is, they always know who it is. Period. I've never ran into one unless they're super young or they're some kids and they say, oh, I don't know what that is. When I ask somebody who's so-called white, if I ask somebody who's African, they're going to say, that's y'all. So what I'm saying is,
people know that they're indigenous to America. Do most of the people? No. Hold up. If I was to go on Soul Train, we was to go click some things, maybe Future, and go on fucking Soul Train right now and cut. What's the host of the Soul Train? Don Cornelius, right? We'll stop Don Cornelius real quick. How many of you soul people are indigenous to America, right? How many of these people you think we understand everything you're saying? Like, I'm not in no disagreement, and I'm not trying to be argumentative to what you're saying. I'm saying just for reality. And let me say this too. The word Native American is a word that just was invented, so those people are not even Native Americans. So we have to. What I'm saying is we have to separate them from us. When you say American Indian, you're talking about somebody indigenous who was here. That's all I'm saying. I have always done that.
I get it, but
other people, the people who African Americans think that they're only Indians because of the Mongoloids.
Exactly. That's because we've been taught that.
Can I say something, y'all? Can I come in right there? I get what you're saying, A1, and because we need our people to know it's not the ones that look more pale skin or the original people. We need them to know. It doesn't mean we didn't mix with some of them, because you can best believe some of our people mix with those, because we mix with different people with different ways that people came through here. So we can't say that we didn't mix with something outside of the American Negro, American Indian, whatever you want to call it. We know we mix with other people, but and all our people actually believe the ones that sitting on the reservations are the true full blood American. But we're not the natives. We're the American Indians. Native just a coin that was just coined back in 1975. And if you go back in history, you don't see them in nothing until you get to the late 1800s. That's when you start seeing them. Why are they not? If they was the original people of the land, why are they not on the historical maps? Why are they not the ones that you see in the historical museums? You could tell by the eye features and different other features. Like I said, different tribes. They said what is it, the Chata? They have more wider, broader nose. You could tell in different one of our clans had different features. And you still see those features in our people today. So we need our people to know not to look at those that sitting on reservation as the American Indian, because they're the Native Americans. They just mean they was born here, born in bondage. We need our people to know that they're the American Indian. We came from a darker class of people. They trying to say they came up out of Africa when we know they've been here all over the whole entire planet. Dark skin doesn't tie you to one continent. That's the misnomer people are pushing now. That dark skin, in order to have dark skin, your people had to originate out of Africa near equator. Equator does not make fucking melanin, man. What the fuck is wrong with folks? It doesn't make melanin. The sun doesn't make melanin. This is something you're born with.
Look, sis, you just liberated me mentally, because one thing you did bring up was the maps. And the maps you showed got Negroes on it, right? Or Negro, what we assume to be Negroes, right? So you just liberated me as far as that conversation. But for other people, some people would, somebody got an echo. Somebody mute their mic, please. Somebody got an echo. I think that might be you. Hold on. That might be you, Jules Dropper. Let me mute your mic. All right, there you go. So, all right. So what I was saying was, so she basically just gave me a good reference for me if I wanted to do the research. She just gave me a good reference as far as the somebody mute their mic, please.
Just one question. Just one question.
Somebody got a feedback. Somebody have a feedback in their playback. Let me see. All right, there you go. All right, don't mute your mic, please. All right, so Copper, the Empress is basically just gave you a source that if you look at the people on the map, they look totally different from these stage pictures that these motherfuckers got now. These pictures that they're showing in the 1800s are not our people. Some of them, you want to say that mix, but from my understanding of this continent, we just was not letting everybody fucking come here like this story goes. The story would tell us, oh, this is the melting pot. Nah, Money Grip, this wasn't really the melting pot. People just wasn't able to come here from other places unless they knew somebody here or they had a direct trade route with us here. That means you soft. That means you just gonna let a motherfucker come on your block that you don't know and just do what the fuck you want to do. Everybody checks everybody. From where I'm from, motherfucker come like, who that nigga? Yo, who you know around here? Who you know around here? You such and such around here? Well, we gonna get
and we are. We territorial people. That's definitely true.
Look, just because you know such and such, that still don't mean you gonna come around here and do what the fuck you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so we just want to let you know that. So my historical research shows me different. But when I'm saying, like, Empress, you good. You answered the question. And the brother Copperhawk, you answered the question too, even though we had some turbulence about the terms and everything. I understand the terms, brother. Like I don't know if you think I'm ignorant to this. I'm just letting you know. I'm like what you said. Like we kind of understand that to a point. But I can see where you coming from. That you never experienced the shit that some of the shit we experience in the North, or going through day-to-day journeys of people who really think they African Americans and think they fucking color, or think, and then when you do ask them, do they got Indian in their family? It's like, yeah, well, you know, somebody said we was an Indian. But the reason they don't represent it to the fullest, because the Indians that being shown do not represent what your people look like. And most of us are not fucking crazy to where we know, when I look in my neighborhood and I ask these people, are they Indians? None of these motherfuckers look like none of the Indians I've ever seen in these pictures.
But you remember them pictures you used to post with the brothers and sisters that look like us with the feather crowns?
Yeah.
Most of those people that you are saying don't know what they look like is because they never seen those type of pictures that you posted. When you show them those pictures, they say, "What the fuck is that?"
Yes, got you. And you know what?
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's up to us to distinguish the difference between an American Indian and a native. It's up to us because we know. That's my whole point. That's why I said everything I said. It's up to us. It's up to us to let them know what a soul person is and what that means and the detail behind it. That's all I'm saying.
I use that term. I ain't got no listen.
Right. No, but I'm saying as far as a bill, you know, I don't have followers and all that, but I'm saying I haven't seen a bill where somebody went into saying what the breakdown of a soul person, soul people, soul power, soul brother is. That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen it.
No doubt. So we definitely got off to like a misunderstanding.
A1.
Yes, sir.
I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry I missed it like the last 5 minutes or something. But when you reach out to people and you ask them, or look at this, like say for instance, you see somebody says, "Oh, I got like you said, you when you was talking to the older elders, and they would say, yeah, my grandmother, she had high cheekbones and straight black hair." Like that's a form of understanding that our people that don't have the information understand what an Indian is. You know what I'm saying? So you have to keep correcting them, but they still don't understand. It's just like when you tell a motherfucker, man, you not African, because we know specifically from what we see, it's a difference. You know, like when you go to, like, say you go to like when I was in New York, you can tell the difference between certain people. You can say, oh, he's Jamaican, or he's Haitian, or this person is Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? But these are they use those terms because you can see the features of those people in their face. You know what I'm saying? Or their features. But the average Negro, the average nigga that live in your neighborhood, how can I get him to understand what an actual Aborigine of America looks like?
Show him those pictures. Show him those pictures of the first ones in the 14 and 1500s.
Yeah,
right. You don't show them those. When they see that, they gonna say, "What the fuck is that?"
Bruh. Some of them identify with it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Some
people gonna take longer to figure it out than others. Everybody not gonna figure it out at the same time.
Got you.
It's not. Everybody's on a different wavelength. Right. But when you show most people, a lot of them say, "Oh shit, what is that? I've never seen that before."
Yeah.
Right.
That's when you break that. That's when you break. And like I say, that's why I like teach. I'm not trying to say I know more than anybody, but I've been out here teaching this, and I like speaking to people. And I like speaking to people one-on-one and in groups.
Right.
And I like to speak to people like I like to speak to Caucasians too. So when you show them that, man, they already know. But when you show somebody young, like I showed my kin folks, and they said, "Damn, what is that? So where is that from?" So then, boom, here I go. I'm in the dope. Let
me ask you a question real quick before we get off the topic. Like, you saying you grew up. You never identified as as African American, black, or Negro, right? All right, so boom, we got.
No, I didn't say that. I said all of us are lost to a certain extent. I said I grew up with my big mama, so we had our culture, we had everything intact, and our big mamas always told us we was Indian. Now, when I got in school, I was on that Pan African shit too. So everything y'all said, man, I know this shit.
So you danced around but no,
I didn't dance around the question. I said all of us are lost to a certain extent.
No problem. All right, I don't want you to get long with it. All right, so boom. Let me ask. So you saying that? So the culture in your family, Have you ever seen have you ever seen your grandmother come in the house with a war bonnet on?
With a war, but that's not every Indian's culture, bro.
No, I'm not answering the question. That's not what
the clan I come from. Yeah, but the clan I come from don't wear war bonnets.
All right, so what is the
we wear head wrap. We wear head wraps, and all the women in my family wore head wraps.
Like turbans.
Right. People are saying turbans, but them not turbans. The head wraps. That's a whole other topic. But yes, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying.
Hold up, man.
I can look back. You just ask me a question, bro.
I know. You answered, but hold up, brother, hold up. You going like when I ask a question, I got you. I'm gonna let you get the floor again. Now,
go ahead.
You wore head wraps. I got you. Now we know you saying they're not turbans. All right, boom. But just for the identification term, most people would say, "Oh, that's a turban." Okay, so we can't say that it's not that. It's a head wrap. All right, cool. We cool on that. So,
can I ask you a question to that real quick? Real quick, can I ask you a question for that?
But
if we calling it a turban and it's not a turban, is that miseducation?
Yeah.
I mean, a turban.
That's miseducation.
A turban. The word turban comes from the word tulip. The word tulip is yes, bro. Yes, it is.
No, I'm not. Listen, I didn't say that you're not right.
That's a cultural thing too,
the
man.
cultural thing. We don't wear turbans culturally. That's what I'm saying. So if we tell people,
brother went out.
I know. The turban, the term turban, because you got Northern Indians that will say turban, or Eastern Indians will say turban. Southern people will call things something different. The people on the West Coast Indians, they will call something different. People in South America will call different hair wraps different things. You know, he said it himself, we are different clans. We have different traditions. So we can't just say, oh, that's what this means because my tribe didn't call it this. See, that's how we set confusion. Because now I'm taking on your tradition of your clan from the information you found out, and come to find out my clan never did that. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's so much confusion, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So get to the root of it. We got some other brothers and sisters up here. If you see your icon on the screen, that means you was in the live feed. So if you want to just make sure you don't have nothing playing in the background when you come in. If you want to come in and say something, like I said, I understand everything what everybody's saying. I can change my logo back to my original logo because some of you then addressed it. But like I'm saying, some people don't like they confuse us because even when you like me personally, I disagree with saying that Africans came here because most of the people that claiming they Africans are being brought from the Caribbean into the mainland of North America. Now, my research shows me that it was already Negroes in the fucking Caribbean. So I would be. Hold up.
Who's to say they wouldn't be related? See, we don't understand that. We could possibly be. Some of us are related to people in different places.
I got you. I'm clear. No.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah, I got you. That's not where I was trying to go. What I'm trying to say is this, right? Most people use like, all right, boom. Let's say, for example, right? When you do the research, most of the people that's being called or they assume to be Africans, when they look on these logs of people being brought in from the Caribbean, people will assume that them was Africans that was taken to the Caribbean, and because they're being brought from the Caribbean coming into North America, then they're Africans. But I was saying I got research that shows there have been Negroes in Brazil, where people say the largest population of Africans went. I got research saying it was people who was all in Central and South America that was Negro. Colombia has the largest population outside of Brazil in the Americas. Colombia has almost 100, probably about 125,000 of so-called people that would be considered Negro. So I'm not oblivious to that. I'm just saying because most people, when they look at these laws, they see people coming in from the Caribbean and say, "Oh, these are Africans," and then never do the knowledge tour. Well, was there black people there before? Because they're hiding the whole shit. That's what I'm saying. But you forgot to mention that it's black people here already, and you can store us all in one lump. So now for me to have to think and say, wait a minute, was it any people really being brought here? I have to question that at that point in time because you're not.
One, just to add, look at it like this. All right, say I'm from what you consider Mississippi today, right? Or Alabama or Georgia or Florida, right? And could these people have relatives that's in Guyana or Brazil? And could those people that's related to these people that's in Florida and Georgia, could they be related to some people that's in what we say the continent of Nigeria? And those people are connected really through bloodline. And the only reason why we making these terms, because these are the terms that they put on us. We have a map. We have maps that we look at. And when we look at the maps, all them lines that's in the map is something that they created to set up the vision for us to not say they could, so we all can be arguing the fact that, oh, this person is African, or this person sold you, or you know what I'm saying? It's a possibility from all our features. These features is from, you can see these features all over the world. So we just putting ourselves in one area. That's kind of all we know is the person that's starting all the terminologies is the person that wasn't here from the beginning. So he can divide shit up because that's the places he want to be.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
This is the conversation I'm looking for. Okay.
Right. So even if I am an Indian, right? I'm an Indian from Tennessee, but my family bloodline goes into Japan. Would I be lesser than an Indian? No, because that's my bloodline. This is my territorial bloodline. So the problem is he don't want you to connect these dots so you can connect to these people that's in Japan. And then those people in Japan learn that, hey, we related to these people and they can protect. See, this is the thing. Everybody have.
I don't know, because the Japans, if they whitewashed out, they ain't too keen. Don't claim
Right,
your black
but I'm
ass.
saying that we talking about the people that we don't see there. You know what I'm saying? We talking about the Negroes just like they do us. The face of America today is the white people. But we are talking the same talk. We saying, hey, the original people of this place that we call the United States of America are black, or in the terms for everybody to understand, they are black. This is a black continent. South America is a black continent. Africa is a black continent. The Mid East is a black continent. See, this is what they don't want, and that's why they had to cut off people like Public Enemy, because they was marginalizing it, but they were saying, hey, this is a black planet. This ain't no motherfucking white planet. Y'all want to take the whole planet and split it amongst y'all clans and y'all tribes, and then y'all can say, oh, I'm Scandinavian and I'm a Scandinavian American. No, fuck that. You from Scandinavia, and you probably not from Scandinavia because the original people there is black people or indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that we have, and that's why we argue. We have so many debates because first of all, we got past the whole thing that we don't have African. African is not really the continent itself anyway. It's divided. You know what I'm saying? They just made it marginalized and make it one place. Just like they do America. These are all places that they conquer and they name it one name. But
I listened to a guy who broke down that word Africa. It means from the far west. It doesn't mean there. It means here.
Right. Well, these are terms that they find, and they could be just like the turban thing. We can keep going and going and going and going and going. What we have to do is start figuring out how to. So what we doing right now is we unifying our individual clans, and then we connecting, and that's the important thing. We connecting. But when we get to all these sparse terms and be like, oh, that's not the way we say this, or this is this and that, then we're gonna argue. Even like, sister, when we started with the whole patriarchal thing, we can't even get to that. That we so far removed, we would be all day trying to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? But let's start with, hey, it's a possibility that my cousin Joe, since he doesn't have, his father is not originally from here. His father bloodline go to Ghana. You know what I'm saying? Does that make him less of my family, of my clan? You know what I'm saying? No, he's a part of my clan, and he has also a part. His other part of his clan is from somewhere else. We got to stop separating ourselves, man. This is why, and that's why we arguing
The
with.
thing is, like, when y'all do these DNA tests, and they telling you from Ghana, Nigeria, all the places in the West Africa. None of those places existed during the time that the supposedly Atlantic slave trade took place. None of those places existed. So how are you tying people to people there in that Pacific area that didn't even exist during the so-called Atlantic slave trade?
Yeah, most
they can't be Nigerians. They can't be Senegalese, whatever you want to call these people.
A lot of those places they went there. You see, we have to understand that it was a mass trade of, just like kind of like how they talking about all these women coming up disappearing and all that stuff. Well, it was a mass kidnapping, and they was doing kidnappings, and it was all kind of people that was involved in it. And this is what they were doing. They were taking people, and kind of the movie 12 Years a Slave kind of give you an idea of what you was getting into when they were showing him.
But doesn't mean they was kidnapping them from Africa. They could have been kidnapping them from California and bringing them over here to so-called New York. That's what people fail to realize. The Pan-African want to say they was kidnapping them off the west coast of Africa, when there's this continent between North and South America. This is a big enough continent where you didn't know the people over in California because you was over here in the South. So you wouldn't speak that same dialect.
Sis, that was my point I was trying to make. I was saying that they were taking people from America and bringing them to those areas. And now today, and then you got to think about mass migrations due to, like the way animals roam and stuff like that, or just to survive. You got to think about it. We have mass migrations from people from the South moving up north, or moving out west, or moving out east. So that was happening in other continents as well. So we have to look at that too. You know what I'm saying? That it's a possibility that we will go on different places.
I'm giving you something else to work with. I heard somebody say, when they keep speaking of Rome, how you know they're not talking about Rome, Georgia?
Right.
They found
understand all these places there is here.
Yeah, they found Rome, a lot of Roman stuff in a lot of the mounds in the South.
They say it's because of the Phoenician. They say it's because of the Phoenician connection and all that stuff. Because
I don't believe none of them people ever came. I believe all of them, the Phoenicians was originally here. I don't believe they came.
Yes. Understand when they say New World, when they said they came to the New World, it wasn't a new world. It was new to them because they never been here. They was only after the Moors started bringing them here. Yeah, it's a new place for them because they never been here.
Right.
It wasn't new. It was old. Just new to their damn ass.
Let me put y'all on something that I found out, right? Boom. A lot of cases, right? So when you start seeing people who were slaves, right? This shit is going on because you had a lot of Aborigine men who was marrying these white slaves. And then what happened, a lot of them white slaves was running away from these certain plantations of the black Britain people bringing here people, white people here. And what happened was they run into our towns, our cities, and some of them will stay there, and then some of us will engage on them, marry them, or whatever. But when they got caught, they was put back into slavery. And if you had a child by that woman child would be a slave unless the man emancipated. I'm not saying nothing about matriarch and patriarch. I'm saying just in the sense that if the European was a slave and they was in bondage all the way up until 1865, stating that you had children by this woman, and even if children came out to look like you and they found out the man, the woman was white or whatever, the children will still be slaves. You understand what I'm saying? So
can I say something, A1?
What?
A root word said, stop lying. The Moors didn't bring them. Now, y'all said y'all was the great sea bears. Y'all was the ones on the seas, patrolling the sea.
Oh, we're not bringing root words. We do that. We're not. Hold on.
But I want to know, which one is it?
We're not going to bring, listen, Empress, please. We're not going to fuck root what he talk, like what he talking about, because that shit is taking us off of what we talking about. We already know what he talking about or whatever. Let's keep
You're right.
See, that's the thing. That's what we always do. See, what we do is the first thing the motherfucker can do. See, this the average street nigga shit. The first thing he want to do, since he got information, he want to argue with you instead of us meeting at the end. Because we already know that we've been all over this continent, all over the world. So we all, nigga, even if you are more, nigga, you a Negro in America living like the average nigga. I know we all are Moors because of a terminology that they use when exchanging people. See, certain things that they say when you look at the dumb diverses, it's specifically talking about a Pacific motherfucker that was gonna put in bondage. So, nigga, all that arguing about what we talking about, that shit is dead. We need to stop that shit, man. We all motherfuckers that still here, excuse my French, but I hate it when people come to argue about Moors and all these terminologies when we need to understand is we just talking the basics. Let's talk basic shit. How do we determine who is the motherfuckers here, like you said in the beginning? Was it Africans? Was it people that was from another continent here as well and had tribes here? Was it some of us that went over into those other places and continents and had land over there, but they still subscribe to their heritage? You know what I'm saying? If I move from one city to the next, the things that I learned in one city, I take it with me to another city. You know what I'm saying? So when we talking all this terminology about Moor and black and all that shit is, man, that shit for the birds. We done been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Arguing about all this shit about nationality and all that shit. That is the prime reason that we having confusion.
All right, so look, don't worry about that. All right, so boom. Now, as far as like real quick, 1492 and 1619, right? If we're trying to make a point of reference that so-called people who you assume, because we know we the soul people, we know we are Tonchons, we know we are Aborigines, or we know we can turn Indian as well, right? So from just a point of reference for the people, if you had to give a point of reference to how would you let people know that people that look just like you, who's living in the projects, who's living in the city, who living in some of these crime-infested communities are indigenous to this land. Now, Empress said the maps. That's wonderful. But outside the maps, what other literature? How would you, if I'm a Pan-African and you're trying to explain to me that we was already here, I mean, I know it was black people all running around the world. Mm-hmm. They know that too. But remember, they had their consciousness erased from them by them giving them this fucking story. Oh yeah, well, they killed all the people here and brought you here. You was a slave. That's in the story. How would you tell me and treat me just like anybody else that classified? You understand what I'm saying? Like, treat me like I'm just a regular Pan-African or I'm regular African-American. How would you give me a point of reference that it was people who, because the starting point is to identify that people who look like you was already here, despite the fact that, well we this tribe, or how would you give me that information? How would you, you know what I'm saying? How would you win me over in that argument, or just win me over?
Our ancestors left plenty of proof, A1, that we was here. They didn't bring these artifacts here. Mm-hmm. Our ancestors left the bones in the ground. Whether we know that these people are lying because they are trying to they want to be the people that's starving over this land. So of course they're not going to tell you that these are so-called Negro bones. Our ancestors left proof. Our proof is in the ground.
Right. Mm-hmm. But my thing is to get back to the original question that he was asking about how do we determine who's American and who's not, and how can you distinctively understand what those two those when you see an American, how do you determine who that is, or American Indian? How can you tell if that person?
See us? Look, I work for Africa. You know us when you see us. Right. Just like you know an African when you see an African. Don't get it like that. You Africans don't know each other when they see each other. They do know each other. Just like we know each other when we see each other. I'm Africans. I born a my heartbeat. They have distinct features. Then we have distinct features. They have distinct features as well.
Right.
And just like when you look at an Asian, you know he's an Asian. Right. You're Asians. or you can tell the ones have been mixing with the Eurasians. You can just about tell. So no, and as I said, yeah, we may have mixed along with some of the natives as time went on, but very few.
Right.
So look, I put the picture back up. I put the picture back up. The NAACP, right? Now, I like to use this as a reference because remember the so-called Aborigines that was here that renounced their tribal rule was classified as color, right? And this will give you an understanding that even these brothers in the middle right here, the darkest people you see here still identify as the term color, right? So let's say some of these people you see in this picture right here. Now, we see the copper color sisters. You know, we see some of the darker copper color sisters. We see some of the darker copper color brothers right here, right? So a brother that looks like this, would you tell me, can you see my circle when I'm circling around?
Yeah, I can see it. Go ahead.
All right, so this brother right here. Now, we ain't got time to do his genealogy. We can just ask him, like, brother, let me ask you a question, brother. Have you ever heard you got Indian in your family? Now, will we assume that this man is an Indian as a result of being an African that mixed in with us? Or will we say that, nah, this brother is the he could be a full-blooded. We had full-blooded Indians that looked just like him with nappy hair, not with no fucking straight hair and no fucking war bonnet on, but with nappy hair. You understand what I'm saying? Because we get two things. We get people who show dark Mongoloid Indians, and just because they're dark, they're connected to us in the South and connected to us in the other part. Those people are not always connected to us. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I told you, the greater majority, we have to use math here. We have to use math here. Okay? If we was to do a simple Google search, not research, but a search. If we was to do a simple Google search and Google, all right, Indians, for example, right? We will get a particular type of Indian looking figure, right? And then we was to Google the number. All right, how many so-called native tribes and how many so-called we know there's hundreds of so-called nations and tribes according to what they now, but the number wouldn't exceed over 6 million, or let's say 6 to 7 million.
I'm just gonna add this. Some of the mongrels, Khans that came over from Mongolia was dark as a motherfucker. So I mean, that's another argument there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got that. But see, when I'm looking at this. This is what I'm looking at. All right, I got that. I'm looking at that. Some of our people in the South never went west, and we went let the people west come east. So I got that. So what I'm saying is whether or not they dark or not, we talking about the 50 to 60 million of us who are classified as African Americans who don't have none of this Indian culture. So is it because we're really African, or did they take our whole culture? Because we can't even look at the Native American culture and say that's our culture. Just like I just asked a brother who said his people been Indians from the time, or he identified, or he seen Big Mama saying that, you know, she wore the little turban joint or the hair wrap or whatever you call it or whatever. So we don't even. So
A1.
Yeah.
Now, what they did was took our culture. We're living our culture. They just took bits and pieces of our culture once they start making them the so-called people they had to learn, because you got to understand, some of the people on the red was us. Those that didn't want to come out and assimilate, we were still on the reservations. There was some of us still there on the reservation. So they only mimicking what was there on the reservation. They don't have it down to the teeth. You can tell how they run around here doing all these dances and stuff. You can tell those are not soulful stuff. You ain't making shit right. You ain't making a goddamn thing.
We know the Caucasians steal everything that we do anyway. So, you know, he goes he goes in different places and teaches other people your culture, and it's like it's his. And then
that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
that's why they had those Indian schools, because they needed to know our culture in order to teach those they was coming over here to replace us.
Hey, you know what's funny? You know the Quiche language, right? They have those block languages that's in South America, right? So the implanted Spaniards that's from Spain that been there for the longest, some white guy grandfather was trying to figure out how to decipher it. Well, the grandson deciphered it, and now to this day, they teaching them people that's in South America that they saying is Mayan. They teaching them, the white people is teaching them the quiche languages or how to understand the decipher the black languages that's down in South America. And that ain't even their culture. If it was their culture, they'd know how to speak their language. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't need nobody to decipher that shit for them. You know what I'm saying? So again,
Exactly.
that's exactly what you're saying is right. You know what I'm saying?
Peace. What up, dude? What up, dude?
What up, though?
What up?
Hey, man, I've been peace to the panel, peace to everybody. I've been falling back, grabbing your information, but I just want to say, just to get my answers to the questions real briefly, because I got all my answers to each question. Y'all damn near can't think of each one now, but y'all could throw them at me as we build. But listen, so if I was to be face to face with like A1 showed the big OG in that photo with all the so-called African Americans, so-called, this is how I usually start, and this is how I've been successful with like waking up my friends and family. Like we could do the whole, like, pictures is powerful too. That's successful like half the time for me. So I do the pictures, and then I do the Columbus thing. I do the descriptions of how we were, but the biggest thing that hit them where I hit success is science, because we got to realize that when us as people, once we challenge science, what goes off in the other person's head is like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? It's the easy dismissal. So sometimes we'll be like, no, all that science, that DNA science shit, that shit bullshit. And when we get to that point, I think that's where people are like, oh, okay, you just, you making up fantasy world. You making up
problem with DNA science. The problem with DNA science, brother, is we ain't doing it.
Right.
That's the
So
problem.
let's get on that. Let me.
We want to do something that's gonna give you 1%. They taking 1% of your DNA and giving you 50 different tribes, different cultures.
So
It's
so look, I'm getting there,
it's no
Empress.
way that you can do that out of 1%.
But right, I'm there, Empress. I'm there with y'all. So I see y'all on my wavelength. This is what I'm getting at. Once I tell them that, I don't never say that and not go into the science part of it. I just don't do that. So what I do is I break it down, because I done put 2 years into it, and not only that, to make matters a little bit worse for me, at least, I had got my DNA done before I came into this information. So in my head, my perspective is like, okay, well, I ain't about to let this science go to waste. My information out there, if they got me in the database, they got me in there. But I'm gonna study this just like they studying it, because I'd be damned if they got it and then they keep building on. You know what I'm saying? I do the research myself, and what I found is that
with the white babies on
us as like, how I don't mean to group us all in, but I say like we the Mississippian culture. You feel me? So for now, I'm gonna say we descendants of mound builders, just for the sake of the convo.
True. That's very true, bro.
Right. So what I say is, how they do these DNA test kits, you need a reference population. You need a reference group. Now, some people may say, what is a reference population? What is a reference group? These are the people that they go out and test. First, the first thing that has to happen before they even do that is they have to know that the people identify as that. And then those people got to say, okay, yeah, these are those people. We'll do this research on them. You feel me? So once they get the reference population, then they call them what they are. The catch with that is, and this is how I would explain it to the elders or anybody, you feel me? At this rate in mainstream genealogy, African equals Homo sapien, right? They say the people in Africa, so-called black people, are mostly Homo sapien. They ain't got none of these other hominids and none of this other crazy stuff. And I feel like that's them shooting themselves in the foot in a way, because if that's the case, when these DNA test kits come back, every single human being should have at least trace African. If we all Homo sapiens in a way, and we all humans, and everybody supposedly got this origin in Africa, then how? No, but hear me out though. I'm gonna bring it full circle. I'm just laying it out for what it looks like. I'm playing devil's advocate like A1. So each person should come back with trace African, but guess what? What they do is they let the reference population identify themselves, and they relabel that African because in their head they like, oh, African Homo sapien. So to me, with me believing in a American origin, you dig what I'm saying? To me, a lot of that is Homo sapien is American. So don't get me wrong, I ain't losing y'all on that. I'm just saying how they
And let me
interpret it.
say
So
one
for
thing to
right
what you
now,
said. Let me say one thing to
right.
what
So
you
for
said.
right now,
Can you hear me?
Homo sapien is African. Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Hey,
Look,
A1 trying to speak.
real quick, right? All right. So look, let me give you an understanding from a scientific point. But I understand exactly what you were saying. So you're saying that before you do a 23andMe, you have to tell them what your heritage is now. So you have to tell them that you
Exactly.
are African American. So they got particular markers to put you in these certain areas to make you fit along their narrative. So now, how you fit along their narrative, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? Think of it like this, right? One thing I like to use all the time. If you test a fucking gorilla to a human being, they are going to be 90-something% compatible with that DNA. So that means that every fucking human being on the goddamn planet, if you were to test people from India, people from Africa, people from China, people from America, people from everywhere, do a fucking DNA test, all of them going to have similar, we're going to have the same organs, we're going to have the same body structures in some cases. Some of us might have more muscle mass. Some of us might be taller. Some of us might have different. That will be on a small percentage of what makes your whole physicality, your whole physicality up. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at Africans, what we got is similar to them is we got the same. Some of us got the same skin tech color. Some of us got the same hair. But what would change is this. The reason why a lot of them might be darker because of the climate they live. Don't mean that just the darkest person is the original. It only means that you had to live in a climate where your body had to create that melatonin for you to live in. That's a genetic mutation. So think of it like this, right? Look at the screen right here. Can you see the screen right
here?
Yeah. All right, now this is a map. This is the drawing. Motherfuckers will sit there, man. That's a fucking drawing. That ain't no. But this drawing was done in the fucking 1600s. So if we was to look at the so-called black people or the so-called people we call black people or whatever, right? When we look at these people on here, right? These are not African. So in Guatemala and Yucatan, that means that the original people who was there looked like them, right?
Right.
Okay, so all right, boom. So now we can also say now, if we was to look in them regions, we see different people who don't look like these people who they first image when they ran across these people on this continent, right?
A1. Another thing about a picture, you have to understand what the artist is writing in the picture. The picture has its own language. So when you look at this picture that we looking at right here, it's explaining in Dutch. You can see the Dutch writing, and then it has the particulars that you can read, Yucatan, and it has Guatemala, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I look at this picture, it's showing the blacks building, and then they got two white babies or white women on there as well.
You can see the corner right there, right? You can see right here the corner.
But let's see. How can we explain that?
So look, let me bring it back because basically A1 you walked
it
down for me,
an
bro.
opportunity. I wanted him to go. Look, my bad, brother. I just let him continue to build on the picture, and we're gonna give you the floor. You can go ahead and go from there. All right.
All right, bet.
All right,
no, I was just saying, like when you look at that picture, it's got explanation. It's showing you white women. It looked like white women to me, and a bunch of brothers building. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that picture mean? You know what I'm saying?
The picture means this. I give you an understanding according to my knowledge of what I was told. It's told that the Europeans was grafted in the Yucatan Peninsula, brother. This is some information that I got. I
was gonna say the same thing, but I want somebody else to say that first.
I couldn't prove it 100. I'm gonna let you go, Cop. I can't prove it 100%, but we have literature that supports that. See what I'm saying? So I'm a researcher that go by I'm not saying everything. I go by what we're not told. I don't go by the shit that they put out there that everybody know. I research into the shit that don't nobody know, the shit that they don't tell you. So they will tell you in that monkey, because there's a monkey guy in the Yucatan or whatever, right? And they saying that that's where they doing a lot of them experiments. And the reason why they let a lot of that canopy, a lot of the weeds and shit grow over it, because when you do the research, you're gonna find out that these was research, these was labs. So
and then they say they show you the pictures with them taking their hearts out and all that stuff. So, hey man, I believe I'm on it right with you, but I didn't want to say it. I want somebody else to say it.
Bro, and look, that picture. Remember the picture we always think from our Nobles Martinez. The first picture in the fucking book when you see other white people coming here, right? But then you see white people carrying her who naked. Them are fucking hybrid created human beings.
Right.
Them are why they captured. Them are people who was created here. And motherfuckers don't like to say it, but it's the truth. When you hear Zachariah Stitch's story, he's telling you the story that we did. Not you, probably not me, probably not probably not the other brother or the other two brothers on the panel or anybody that's in the chat room, but some of our ancestors played a part in creating what they call homo or homo sapien, because when you look up the term homo sapien, it would say male primate. Right. It was genetic graphically male small primate.
Hey, you know, in Egypt, they actually showed you the cloning process, and then they had them roped. Whenever you see somebody roped together, that's showing the connection between the genetics. So you showing a rope, man. So now today, you know, religiously, motherfuckers would say it's Sham, you know, Japhet, and you know what I'm saying, and Ham and all that shit. But that was a particular cloning process. I mean, I ain't gonna go there, man. Fuck that. I ain't gonna say that. I'm leave that alone.
When they show the what's the motherfuckers, the Hyksos, and when they show all these other genetically I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's exactly right, because remember, we went there from here and created that over there.
Right.
They didn't have a certain. Everything started here in America. That's why I be trying to explain to people. So when I talk about the Moors, I'm telling you that history of them people that they're calling you came from the Americas. I'm not like people get all mixed up and they don't do research. They say, well, what do that matter? That doesn't fucking. Well, if it don't matter to you, don't listen to the information.
Right.
We're past a lot of this shit to where we're talking about these tribes, and you know, some people still gotta come along. That's why you got certain people who stay within them timelines that you have to look into their information and fact check it with other people.
They had a geneticist that did he was doing genetic DNA testing on Caucasian people, and he was seeing edits that couldn't be replaced. So that means that particulars was taken out that cannot ever be remarked. So that means like genetic, they got something called CRISPR, and CRISPR is something that they use in today as a genetic editing system. What they doing is taking biopsies you can take a biopsy yourself and go in there and make yourself start growing taller. You know what I'm saying? And see, all that science is something that we had prior to the confusion happening, right? And it took them this long to figure out what actually was going on. You know what I'm saying? And finding out that they actually have genetic markers that can't be. That's why their phalluses won't get big, or they don't have they genetically don't get a certain type of color of skin. They have to actually exchange genetics, do sexual exchange to even change their, you know what I'm saying, for us, we can go out and sit in the sun and it can actually darken your skin. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's right. Because even
can I say something?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sister.
Yeah. You know, everybody want to keep talking about these monkeys and this, that, and the third. Well, nobody around but our ancestors able to document them. And first of all, that's not evolution. Evolution means to evolve. When you devolve, when you start losing something, that is devolving. So how the monkey they want to call he went from a monkey to a man? That means he was devolving. He's not his original self anymore. So that could be evolution.
It
So,
gotta be.
in
It gotta be a physical. It
man,
gotta
in
be a
order
physical.
for that to be documented what took place, it had to be man here in order to
Right.
document. Because ain't no
Right.
documented enough, documented enough losing his fur and start making other, everything. It wouldn't be just a monkey devolving. It would be
Right.
other animals here devolving,
Right.
losing what supposed to be at one point in time to something else. That's not
Right.
evolution.
And
So
They'll
when
let,
tell
you
you.
hear
They'll
these
tell you. They'll tell
pan
you
people
white people.
with this shit,
I was gonna
it's
say they'll
dumb.
tell you white
I'm just
people
telling you
came
now.
from.
If you ain't doing with you, you
That's right.
let me get in, then I'm gonna
You
get
was
off.
going back and
say that
forth.
again.
You was going back and forth on every
Now I
one.
was gonna say that they'll tell you because she right. They'll tell you that albanized people created white people. How is that possible? If
Let me
you're
get in there.
albino, you're albino. You know what I'm saying?
You know why they say that though? Because
That's
they
a
say
light skinned person basically with genetic.
albino. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know why they say that though? Because there are stories the way they were saying that they took all the people who was like albino and placed them all together. So that's just another train of you know what I'm saying, understanding. I'm not saying
Right.
that shit is true or not. I'm just saying that it's just to connect with or bring some different viewpoints to what we're
Right.
talking about. That's all I'm
Right.
saying. I'm here. I'm
But
here.
we everywhere with it today, boy.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what
Hold on, I'm gonna
no.
go out and come back in
Let
because
me
I can
jump back
barely hear
in.
y'all. So can you guys hear me?
If
You
you
hear
go
me,
back
A1?
out, I got you, sis. I got you. I'm gonna bring you right back in. Just go back out.
What about me, A1? Can you hear me?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You good? You good, brother? Peace, peace, peace to the
Okay,
platform.
peace. All
State
right.
your name, gangster.
Yeah, Stephen Ray Clay.
Peace, gangster. How you
Hey,
doing, Steve?
I'm doing all right, man. I don't have a lot, but I know the topic was how can you
Nice to
prove
meet you too, brother. Nice to formally be introduced to you, brother. I've been seeing you in the platform for years. So anybody I see been rocking with A1 from day one, I definitely appreciate. And my brother right here, get to the root of it. He been actually doing videos for years. You guys probably don't know him. Maybe you want to go to his channel and subscribe to his channel. He got a lot of great information. I learned something. I learned a lot of things from this brother too. So I give credit to everybody that helped me in my progress. So definitely salute to the brother. Get to the root of it, as well as Dave Boss on the platform. Nice to meet you, Brad Clay. Go ahead with yourself, brother.
all right, man. I appreciate you. I didn't even know you all see my videos. I say he probably don't know who I am, but
I know who you is, man.
I do too. I know
I'm
you are.
God, nigga. I know everything, bro. Go ahead.
all right. Let me. My perspective on it is a little bit different than most because I trace my family line back to the 1630s on the eastern shore of the Accomax, and as the Europeans were coming into the country, they was pushing all people off the land to claim the property, and they ended up putting a reservation on that eastern shore called the Gene Gaskin. So I have family that grew up on that reservation until they closed it, and they pushed them further off the island. They end up in Elizabeth City, and then at Fort Christiana, and they joined in with the Catawbas and the Saponi tribe. So right now, I'm currently a member of this Catawba Saponi tribe, based on doing this research. And you
You was
hear the
Aquamac though, right? You said Aquamac, right?
yes, the Accomax.
All right,
Yes.
I got a sister. Shout out to my sister Lisa Aquamac or whatever. I definitely gave a sister a call last week or whatever. I'm gonna definitely try to get back in touch with you.
Okay.
She just bought her tribe and things and her tradition and her culture and everything. Maybe you want to reach out to her, considering you said you was an Aquamac or whatever. She's actually doing something, I believe, in October. I'm going to definitely have her on here for anybody who's interested in going down there, just connecting with some of the brothers and sisters or whatever. So be looking forward to that. But for you being an Aquamac, you should definitely reach out to her. But go ahead and continue building, brother.
Okay, but now I never did join the Accomac tribe because the majority of my family, when they came together at Fort Christiana and they joined in with the Saponi Catawbas after they left the Eastern Shore, I have like 9 or 10 core family names with the Saponi and the Catawba tribe. So that's why I went ahead and sent my application in with them and got joined in. Now, I have people that's in our tribe that look straight up like they're straight from Europe, white, but they in the tribe because they married some of my ancestors. And they claim that they're American Indian based on marrying a Negro ancestor, but the Negro ancestor was also classified as an Indian because they lived in those villages, and most of the people that lived in those villages, they married each other, or they married, the
So
other
you talk
person's
about
sister.
letting people know what part of the Americas you're talking. You talking about Virginia, right?
Yes, in Virginia.
And so your
Yes.
people will be lumped up into the Bacon's Rebellion and all that type of stuff.
That's correct. That's correct, because everybody
Right.
was married. Everybody was marrying each other before the Bacon's Rebellion, and once the Bacon's Rebellion happened, then they started putting that stigma on the free people of color, and people don't coordinate the two. Why do they call us free people of color? Because the people of color were the free people that roamed the land and had the property, and
Right.
so
Big
after the Bacon's Rebellion, they dropped that free off of there, and they just started calling them colored. Now, when you start looking at the 50s and the 60s coming up to present day, when they had the colored water fountains, there was no Native Americans back then. There was
Exactly.
either colored,
That's my point.
you was
That's my
using
fucking
there
point.
you go.
Yes. Go ahead. I ain't trying to cut your wisdom, but look, just to solidify what we saying, these are the people who are probably say join the NACP. So these will be the colored people who will be the ancestors of the original Indians that was classified as colored. Now, when I'm saying that these are two totally different group of people than the fucking Native Americans that I be saying motherfuckers showing me.
That's
and that confuses me. So look, even you want to look at a drawing, you want to say, oh well, this is a figure right here. Somebody could have done. I'm an artist, and I know people when you create art, you try to be as you try to put as much life into the art as possible. Unless you're the European and the Mona Lisa and you painting all that bullshit. But with true artists, when you're painting something, when you're doing a portrait of somebody, you're trying your hardest to make that image come alive on the canvas or on a paper, fucking whatever you drawing on, carbon, however it go. So this is a Florida Indian, which the Dutch say he looked like an African, but he is native to America. And they took this image over to Amsterdam or whatever, right? So when have you ever seen an Indian dressed like this before?
No.
All right, so that would make us different from the people that they fucking showing us.
That's true.
So have you? And look, think about it like this. Look. Even we want to go here. Boom. These are people in Guatemala. Look, this nigga got a fucking headband on, bro. He got a bandana on. Look, he has a fucking band, bro. He has a bandana on.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that we know. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's confusing because we'll see some dark Native American. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm in this shit for my people. I'm not in this shit to make people feel good. I'm not in this shit to be fucking blowing kisses at them. I'm not in this shit for none of that shit. I'm in this shit for the real deal because like I said, doing my documentary, I have seen a lot, and I have asked a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people are fucking confused because their mind is already set at what they think Native Americans are and what they've been showing, and then they even say, "Oh yeah, my grandmother, she was real like." Nah, she might have been half white and half Indian.
A1. See, we going by classifications of the motherfuckers that created the confusion in the first place. The one told them that they Native American. Yeah. Listen, niggas have different personal descriptions based on what they told us we were. So 1 minute we this, 1 minute that, they say these people are Indians, these people are Native Americans. It's never coming from the true original people. So all that we arguing about terms that the motherfucker that's causing the issue is giving us. That's why the brother earlier was saying that what he was saying about this is not what we were saying what we are, and this is not how we say this or that. I get it, but the argument is the Africans say they taking on a name that they gave them. And well, really, the Africans don't. They say I'm from Nigeria or whatever. That can be confusing too. But here in America, we take what the man tell us we are. The motherfuckers on the reservations, the Indian reservations, they go by Native American on their documents. Those are contracts. You know what I'm saying? So when we doing commerce or business with these people, they tell us what we are. That's why when you look on the sheet, it only gives you certain descriptions, say Native American, Pacific Islander, white, Caucasian, Asian, such and such and such. And then it has African American on it. So he determines who you are. You know what I'm saying? And most of the people to identify with the closest thing to them is they will put African American on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because they think that people who look like them was not here. See, that's the thing. See, it's like brother, getting to the root of it. If I look at you, you are a dark-skinned brother. You're a dark-skinned brother with a certain texture hair, and you have a certain look about you. Okay. Now, most people will identify you as being, oh, you are African because of your complexion. Most of us would disassociate ourselves from being Indians looking like you. So my whole purpose of what I'm saying is that when people bring up this information, I just want people to understand that a lot of the culture that we are not, a lot of the culture, we don't even really, we got our culture is dealing with aspects of school, we got a lot of our culture consciously. Even though you live in apartments, you might live in a condo, you might live in a goddamn mansion. You might ride a motorcycle, you might have a motherfucking Bentley, you might have a Prius, or you might have a bus car. But what I'm saying to you is that people who look a certain way, we are, and their genealogy ain't going to tell you, because even when you look at people's genealogy, it still doesn't say that they're Indian. I ran across hundreds of people who left me comments and sound like they wanted to cry because they could not find Indian on their genealogy. Like, man, fuck it, I'm an African then.
No, because what it is, just because it's not on those, it's documents. A lot of people, if it's not, you know, a lot of this stuff they do have buried. I found my people on the Cherokee's Dolls Road.
Yeah, I got people in there. I got 6 ancestors on there. You know what I'm saying? And
I don't be 100. Ain't none of my stuff found. I ain't never finding no paperwork. Yeah. Everything I know came from my family.
But wait a minute.
You know
now my family line does have Indian on it, but it's listing the name of the tribe. So that's different, because it's saying that they are Saponi Catawbas. It's saying that they were on the Jingaston Reservation classified as Indian, but it also at the same time said that they were Negroes. So it was going back and forth interchangeably. So once they stopped dressing and carried themselves a certain way, then they classified them as Negro. But as long as they were still in their tribal communities and dressed in a certain way, they was classifying them as Indians. They even went to court, and in court they were saying, I'm a Saponi, I'm a Catawba, or I'm a Accomack Indian. So that information is out there. But now the difference
you have to correct them.
You got 2 different types of Native Americans. You got the Mexicans who came up from the South that mixed in with a lot of our people, and then they start calling themselves Native American. You have the Asians that helped build the railroads, and then after they put them in a concentration camp and the government got tired of feeding them, then they decided to release them to be part of some of those Western tribes. So, and you look at some of those Asians, those Native Americans out West, they still have the Asian culture. They dress in their regalia. Their regalia is an Asian attire. And you can see the slanted eyes of them. But when you look at the Mexicans or the people that's coming up from South and Central America, some of those people have a different look. They don't have a tight eyes, and some of them do. But you have a lot of Asians down in South and Central America as well. And when you get west, east of the Mississippi, you had some of those Hispanic people, which is Mexicans, who mixed in with some of our people, and they were a darker complexion people with straight hair and dark skin. But as you got further west, you didn't see that because they were more of an Asian-like people. So we call them the foreign Indians. So
all right, stay right there. 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 All right. Can y'all see the screen?
Yeah, it's real small. You gotta make it a little bit bigger. There you go. There you go.
Okay, y'all can see it, right? So these are Black Seminole troops, right? But then when you Google regular Seminole Indians, you'll get these people, right? You'll get, these are Negroes right there. I'm just looking for more of the other ones, because I've seen some other Seminole Indians that don't look They look a little bit like us, but they don't look like us, like these people right here, for example. Let me hit this up right here. So now look.
A1, the Seminoles, in people's eyes, the Seminoles are slaves that ran away to southern Florida.
Wait, remember, if you look up the history, the Tuscaroran and Yamasi ran in
right.
So it was some Africans with them or whatever, and then they lied, and then you can go back easy to South Carolina, the mayor of South Carolina telling you that the Yamasis was the original people of that land. So
right.
What are you talking about? So these people right here are today Seminole, right? But so why are we getting two different Seminole Indians? Are these Africans? And
some of them are Melungeon. Some of it, like those are Melungeons. Yeah, they are Melungeon.
Okay, Melungeon, got you. Boom.
Cajuns, people call them Cajuns to this day, but they are Melungeon. They are a mix of like three different nationalities in one. And it's all because of the protection of the original Indians that was in those areas that saved them from slavery. So they end up mixing in and creating their own clans to now you see them today. And you can go all up by the Appalachian Mountains and you'll find people speaking Cherokee languages up in that way, and they are Melungeon people. They look like Asians and they can look like black people. Some of them look like blacks. And some of them, even like far as like in Virginia, some of those ones that they call hillbillies, they black people too, but they look more white. You would think that they white, but a lot of them, because of the mixture, are related to each other, and they end up interbreeding with each other. That's where you get the term of them interbreeding and creating the like a lot of them with mental problems and issues up in the mountains. That's because that black blood in them, that Indian blood in them is too strong, and they end up breeding with each other.
What's that movie?
You know what I'm
saying? What's that? Not If the Hill Got Eyes.
He'll have eyes. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
In West Virginia and the motherfucking people or whatever. So all right. So
wrong turn or something like that, right?
Turn. Yes, wrong turn. Yeah. They got parts of that, right?
Them was the Melungeons.
Right. So according to our research, right, and according to what we see of the images that people showed before they start people who look predominantly like this right here, we know that these people got Indian, white, and probably some Mongoloid in them, or whatever you want to call it, Native American or whatever, which make them look the way they look. So these brothers will be what the original archetype of what a Seminole or Yamasi or Tuscarora or any of them before the interbreeding, right?
That's correct.
All right, so that's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to, because if you show people this, they will cross the story in which the European gave you. Oh yeah, these are Africans that mix with Native Americans. But why are all these motherfuckers looking the same? If these are Seminoles, so they lumped all of the black Seminoles together and then put these people separately.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like you have to ask yourself these questions. Like it's like and then when I see a lot of people when they present the so-called Pan-Africans, like I'm not letting no Pan-African get that shit off about and I'm only saying that because like some people, you might not be a debater or you might not be trying to really reach certain people. My whole goal is to reach people and let them know, listen, people who look just like you was here before 1492. Point fucking blank. And then when you show people that look like this, you confuse certain people because they're like, wait a minute, I'm keeping it real with myself. I've never seen nobody like that in the hood. I've never seen nobody like that. I'm talking about it might be in certain parts where people live at, but among where the people who migrated to the north and all these hoods and ghettos and projects. Look, my grandmother lived all three of my grandmothers lived in the fucking projects, man. And I could go outside and there's 2,500 motherfucking Negroes outside, and I never seen nobody who looked like none of these motherfuckers.
Hey, Ron, they talk about how what's the name went into Florida to get the Seminoles. And these are the ones they was talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? What we looking at, these people here are the slaves that was property. You understand? That we was covenant. We was protecting them.
Right, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. The people who they was claiming was slaves was not indigenous people, because these people could not own land. And in some cases, these people that look like this might have took a wife that looked like them, and they children of theirs, whether they came out looking like you or not, would be a fucking slave. And that's where the confusion is coming in when you're saying, oh, there was some people, and then when you read, and even when you reading about the with the Lady Hardaway, they would say, oh, she was a brown Indian of a white mother. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Then I start saying, oh, well, you have blacks that own slaves, and then you get into partnerships and black slave owners of the South. He'll tell you that the father was the one who emancipated the children. I'm like, wait a minute. They talking about mixed children. They talking about these niggas are messing with other races of people who came here as fucking property. And when you have babies by them babies are properties.
That's right.
Go ahead, Bill, brother.
Yeah. Also, what I was going to tell you. As far as the mixing now. The people started intermixing with each other so they wouldn't go into slavery. But you also had Negroes who had slaves as well, because my family had slaves in the South in Louisiana.
But not slaves, but when you saying, okay, when you saying slaves particularly, you talking about white Slavics.
You talking about white Slavics.
White Slavics.
But wait a minute, you had people that had contracts with these people, and some of the kids was bonded out to some of these rich whites as servants, because that's what happened with my second great grandmother. She grew up on a plantation in Louisiana, but she married the plantation owner and ended up becoming the owner of the plantation.
Y'all do know the plantations was ours. They wasn't originally called plantations.
Yeah. Plantation gets a larger farm. When you look up the word, large farm.
And then you have to understand, a lot of people get this mixed with the house nigger versus the slave. The house Negro, that was his house. He got behind in Texas, so they put that pale face up in his house because he winds up getting behind in Texas because he didn't understand the contract. And once he went off to go do time for not paying those taxes, he come back, he got a pale face up in his house. That's why he was in his house. He wasn't in there because he was a chosen nigger. He was in there because that was his shit.
That's right. That's right.
Well, in my case, in my family line case, it's a little different because we did have the French come up the Washita River and claim some land that originally belongs to my sister's family side. The Frenchman started a plantation. He was a planter, and for some reason, one of my grandmothers had an agreement, and she must have lost out on the agreement. But one of the daughters grew up on the plantation. The other daughter grew up in the neighborhood, not on the plantation. But as my second great grandmother got older, she ended up marrying the son of the Frenchman, and that's how my immediate grandmother came about due to that marriage. But he was killed by his brothers for marrying her because they didn't appreciate him marrying that woman.
I was just finna say that, little yo's apprentice. Like when y'all see these things saying Negroes for sale and this, that, and the third, that was apprentice. We was actually contracting ourselves out. Well, of course, when you put yourself out in the newspapers and stuff, of course they're gonna call you a Negro.
Yep.
Because that's what they was calling us.
Check this out. Look. To touch on what you and Lil Yos is saying is this, right? When I was basically doing analysis to the black slave owners, right? They said that it was free blacks who basically signed themselves up for slavery. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you want a slavery, how the fuck? Because he was trying to be apprentice or learn a fucking trade. Because if you didn't know how to do it, you was fucked.
It was a job. It's a job.
Yeah. If you don't know how to grow nothing, remember, if you don't know how to grow nothing, you're hit. If you ain't have no skill that was worth marketing that you can render to somebody else, then you was hit. That's why when you, like what the brother was saying, that in the South, most brothers and sisters or most families down there had their own farm. They never went to or whatever because they were self-sufficient, meaning that they didn't need the advancements like we need in these big cities up north. You in the South is more shit. Up north, we in the concrete jungle. There's no, like, you can't fucking plant shit here all year long. You'll be screwed. So, like to what he's saying, and that's where a lot of the misconceptions come at, because we don't understand exactly the history, or we don't understand exactly what was.
But they also got you thinking that the South and the North was the so-called pale face up there was against the pale face down there. No, it wasn't. It was us fighting against each other.
Right. Hey, and two, we got to understand this. What was a plantation at that time? It was a corporation. It was a universal. It's just like McDonald's. It's a corporation.
There you go.
That you sold your goods all over the world. It was just So when motherfuckers say, "Oh, they were slaves on a plantation," yeah, it was white people on a plantation with the people that actually worked on a plantation. So
the slave went to being indentured servant. Indentured servant turned to employee. They ain't doing nothing but changing the name. They're doing the same thing today as they did. All they doing is rechanging the name. And only know you still working for somebody else. So if I'm working for somebody else, I'm considered a damn slave.
Look, Django, real quick, hold on, real quick. Just like the Django, right? When you Django, right? The Django. Stephen was the owner of the fucking plantation. Now, what they didn't put in there was the real white slaves, in which the nigga was DiCaprio he was in charge of white slaves, not black slaves. But remember, depending on if one of these black Aborigine men had a baby by one of these Slavic people, then you would have seen some dark people who would have been slaves as well, or what we say indentured servants, because a lot of times that's when you start seeing people, you work for a certain period of time, you learned the trade, now you can go ahead and go on your own and do your own thing.
And if you really think about it, your damn supervisor is what you would consider a slave master, because he's out there trying to make sure you're doing your job correctly.
Right.
That's correct. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, it's all the same thing. But see, we have people they want to say, oh, they were slaves. Like I had this one gentleman kept coming on my post. He said, well, my people wasn't slaves. I felt like, why would you want to call yourself an American Indian when this is your land and you'll let these people come here and take your land from you? I'd rather say I was the ones that was captured on the West Coast. No, I said, so you trying to compare bullshit to bullshit? How the fuck you gonna compare bullshit to bullshit? It's still shit.
That's right.
It's still shit.
And even that picture he's showing there, those are the Seminoles, but they became the Buffalo Soldiers, and they the ones that went out west to clear the land for more Europeans to come in and take the property. And they were the same ones that went to Galveston and freed those people down there that was working on those plantations.
Right. And them the same people that was considered that was the ones that was riding on horses, shooting bow and arrows and killing people with. Because it was two factions of them. It was the ones that we call Native American. It was the black ones, and then the black ones was actually helping stretch it out, because there was a lot of people that was there that wasn't supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah, and even when you look at them sending the Natchez to Haiti, you don't see any Mongoloid Native Americans in Haiti.
Right.
So that lets you know right there that the Negroes were the Indians.
Exactly. But listen, what I'm saying is, you coming up with points that you obviously studied, and you obviously got you got a data point to where you can start from. A lot of people with these conversations, they could not prove to me that it was black people here already. A lot of people cannot prove that shit to me. And I've listened to people conversations, and like I said, the elephant in the fucking room is, to prove to black people that we was already here, you have to say, well, people who looked at like you was already fucking here. You can't say, oh, well, some of us might be Africans and some of us might be, no, because that is deviating from the original point.
Because you got Mexicans that's down there claiming to be the Mayans and the Aztecs and all that, when they're hybrids, they got themselves.
That's correct.
Right.
So
how can you it's just like the term African American. How can you be a Spaniard and be Mexican at the same time? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's the point that we have to understand. So Either you a motherfucking Native American or you a motherfucking Spaniard. Which one do you want to be?
Exactly.
Right.
You can't be over here speaking Spanish. That's from over there. That's Spaniard.
But
Right.
when you look at the Jackson Whites up in New Jersey, those people has like a mulatto look, and all of them say that they are Indian. They are Lenapes. So that's what you had going on in the South as well as the North. Those people that didn't want to be enslaved or forced to work for someone else for free, they kept marrying lighter so that they wouldn't have to go through that. And so even
but
in Louisiana,
like you was talking about the Melungeons, I'm prime example. Y'all know Abraham Lincoln was a Melungeon.
Right.
Elvis was a Melungeon.
Right.
That's why you always see him. That's why y'all think he moved like he did, and he was always around dark-skinned people. He knew who he came from.
I mean, just from the images alone, these people do not look like. And these is, like I said, it's the drawing, but you gotta use your common sense even when it comes to this, because this will be. Like I said, my observation is what got me to the point where I'm at now. My observation, like I can't say, you know, certain individuals who teach this information. I had for me to understand this shit, you would have to tell me it was black people already here. You cannot tell me, oh well, you know, we're Indians because of my DNA, my genealogy said, yeah, that's great for some people. But as far as if you trying to explain, see, that's good if you just on your own self, if you just dealing with you. But once you know, you want to tell everybody else, and you don't want to be, you know, like okay, so you know you are Indian and that's it. All right, well everybody might not be Indian. Okay, so you know you one, then that's it. You're not worried about the people who look like you who may be Indian.
Right.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying? And that's where I come into play at. That's why I bounce all around with all this information. We did the trials, we did the observation of what the Northern Indians looked like, the Wabanaki, Pequot, Nassagari, the motherfucking
Wait, people, this is how people are trying to confuse folks with. They trying to make like all dark-skinned people with kinky hair came from one continent. It's bullshit. Because if you go over in Africa right today, you have the Hindustans, you have the people in North Africa and other places in Africa that have straight Ethiopia that have straight hair.
Sudan.
So quit.
Right.
It's stupid. You can't compare that. There was people with kinky hair on every damn continent, just like there were people in my family. In my family alone, you will find people with wavy hair, curly hair, and then you have people with kinky hair. That's all through all that bloodline. If you pay attention to your people in your family bloodline, you will find that that's the same on every continent.
And if somebody quote unquote in your family got good hair, it's because grandma got raped, great grandma got raped by a white man.
Dumb shit. That dumb shit. It's the dumb shit.
And we just explained, just because you got your hair is straight, I'm quite sure Empress can get an afro. I'm quite sure if you get your hair low enough to where your hair, but if your hair grow long enough, of course the shit is going to fall out. You can't keep an afro. Is only going to defy gravity according to the weight of it. So if the shit get too big, this is when you start seeing niggas fucking braid their hair up, or you start seeing niggas comb their hair to the back or whatever. Right. Remember, niggas is good for that shit. Niggas is good for.
And at one point you can use, because you could go on YouTube and see these sisters making their own straightening grease to straighten their hair. They use all kind of grease. Bear grease we know, but I'm saying today you see sisters naturally with natural hair making creams that straighten their hair. It's not permanent, it's temporary. But this is what we was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, this look like a goddamn Mexican right here. You know, this is their images that they got.
Them dreadlocks, them dreads in there.
Yeah, dude, this is like a
locks. Them locks. Them ain't no dreads. Them locks.
This supposed to be a mother goddess right here, right?
Right.
Dude, this look like the people that's there. This is like one of our people that's classified as an African.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hey, do you see the baby upside down. Do you see that? Do you see that tail on that baby?
Yeah.
What
That's
an
the
umbilical cord. That's an umbilical cord. But okay, you know what we used to do, far as like to bring people up to a higher perspective, meaning bringing them up to a higher energy level. They would do is hang, your baby. They would take them and sit them upside down. That way, you will activate the kundalini or the hypothalamus glands, and what that was doing, giving them a higher self. So that would make them smarter. See, that's the science that we don't use no more. But that's all. That's all our shit. You know what I'm saying?
Sacred. We need to be using sacred geometry. Sacred geometry.
Right.
If we ain't doing nothing else, that's what we need to be teaching our children.
Right.
Look at the color she got in her ears.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the red, white, and blue. You see what I'm saying? Or around her hairdress or whatever. She got red, white, and blue. So I'm just saying from a perspective of people who's like really trying to grasp this information, don't confuse yourself with the images of what you see Native Americans are. Don't confuse yourself with the fact that you may think some Africans came here. You have to find yourself in the picture before you can start making all them other conclusions, because what'll happen is you'll let other people convince you that you may be a motherfucking African that mixed with a Native American. And I say it all the time. I'm saying, how many debates we done been debating with an African? I'm talking about we've been doing this shit like every day we go outside and war with these motherfuckers. We've been warring with these, and it's not like, okay, outside of people teaching, outside of the system on Instagram and Facebook and all these other platforms teaching us the history of who we are. We've been in the background debating this shit for years before we even had these certain groups of Aborigines that came in and caused this separation. We've been champion for the people from day one. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we made people for the fucking people. We was the one going after these Africans.
But let me say this, A1. Even the language that I'm studying, because I had ancestors that spoke this language, the Degia language, after they left the Ohio River Valley. The name for an American is Joshape Nika. So that means a dark-skinned man is what they was calling the American. The same word applies for the Indian. It's the same word, Joshape. So they was using the term Negro, a dark-skinned person, back in the old days to describe an Indian. But then when they describe an African Negro, they call him an Istakisha, which means a dark-skinned Frenchman. So it was someone coming from a foreign land. So when you start looking at the language, you see where our ancestors were the dark-skinned indigenous people, but over time they got lighter because it only takes 2 generations to change your coloring. And if you keep mating with someone that of lighter complexion, straighter hair, your grandkids gonna come out looking like that. And next thing you know, your great-grandmother is no longer in the picture. She's out. But these people are claiming that they are American Indian based on your grandparents. And that's what I have in our tribe. We have people that's claiming that they are American Indian based on my grandparents. And that's how they got to be in the tribe. And so you see this a lot, especially on the East Coast. Now, as you get further west, then you got the Asian invasions where those people came in and basically just took over the land out there.
And look, if you see the screen right here of the people that they found in all these different regions, right? You see the American on the side, right? And you see that they got that feather headdress on, right? And they got the fucking, that same little, whatever you want to call it. I don't like to say a skirt, so that's how feminine, but you see that same little, covering your buttocks and your private part, whatever. But it looks like the same shit they wear in Hawaii, the same shit they wore in South America, the same shit they wore in the Caribbean, the same shit in North America. Do you think any Indians wearing this shit today?
Nah.
All right, then. So that must mean that we have a separate culture from the people that they are called Native Americans. We don't have the same culture, and like that's why I say, and a lot of people who basically, how do you say? Hey, a lot of these tribes, what we see now, are black people who went back into their culture and revived these tribes. But a lot of people that revive their culture, they're looking at the template of what Native Americans is thinking. They stole. Nah, we separate people.
But wait a minute, A1. Now that was the fashion of the day, because when we're doing powwows, we do dress in the ancient regalia that they wore back in those days, like the feather headdress. We don't do the grass skirts no more like they used to.
Yeah.
As far as the fringes
No doubt.
and fringes
I'm
and
not
the
saying. Yeah, I got you. I'm not saying. Listen, what I'm saying is, I know this. But remember, a lot of these images is from the 1600s, bro. So that means we was that 400 years, 300 years ago, we still eating food and we still practicing culture as far as nutrients and some spiritual cultures and some, how do you say, some healing cultures that surpass that, man. Thousands or tens of thousands of years, man.
Oh yeah.
The turpentine, you know, a lot of stuff that we do is stuff that we was already doing, man, prior to these people coming here, man. The same thing with that clay, that dirt, that red dirt that people said, that, like, you know, when people had skin problems, they rub that red clay on them and that should have cleared it up. So a lot of stuff that we was doing is stuff that is only according to what we see the people in the South, and some of the people, some of us in the North still practice that same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to like I ain't trying to bridge no gap, because there's no, like, it is what it is. Some people just gonna believe what they believe no matter what it is, man. I'm just saying, as far as what we are, we have to understand what's really going on. And I gotta actually run, but what I'm gonna do is I'm about to start another series up, and it's gonna be what kind of Indian are you? Tell me your culture. Don't give me no Native American culture. Give me a culture that you know that we was practicing. You see what I'm saying? Or we could fair to say, well, damn, you know what?
I would love to do a part 2 to this.
Yeah, you know what? We can definitely do a part 2. I mean, I got about another half an hour. So if y'all want to continue to build before we get up out of here, and everybody let everybody know where to find you at, or whatever. Just everybody. You ain't gotta end it right now, but just, you know, let's continue to build. And we could do another part to this. I'm sorry, you guys, the mislead. I was a Pan-African or African. I lied to you guys. I'm still A1 from day one. Mahalo Kiel, that's the finest, with brothers and sisters on here building. I just wanted to bring some insight to what I see a lot of people doing around here, man. It's not to really take no shots, because it's never nothing personal, because, you know, we come into this shit, you know, we got some people whose family may have told them that they knew this, like the brother who was on earlier. You got some people who learned this shit from Dan Calloway. You got some people who learned it from the Moors. You got some people who might have came here and learned it from me. You got some people who might have learned it from Chief Holiday, etc., to the individuals that's out here. Well, African Americans ain't African. I gotta always give shots to Kerry Davis, because, you know, for what he did. I don't agree with him on a lot of shit he talking about, but he brought a highlight to the people who are so-called African Americans ain't from Africa. So that's a great how do you say, identification, observation for you to do your further research from it. So with that, mute the mic. Go ahead and build, brothers and sisters, man.
What the only thing that I see that's different that we're not doing is that we don't have identifying markers that separate us from the rest. We don't have a political party, which we should. If we don't have that, we should have at least lobbyists that's fighting for our interests. And right now we don't have that. Now the Native Americans do have a caucus that they lobby Congress to get things done on their behalf. And they call themselves Aboriginals, but they fighting for Aboriginal rights.
Right.
Either our people have to either join with them or separate and have our own. But right now, the Black Caucus is not fighting on our behalf.
No, because they're Europeans. They from Africa. Most of them are Africans.
That's right.
That panel might have one person that's American, Indian on it.
We definitely need that, because for one thing, we have these Caucasians claiming to be us. It's just what it is. And what they're trying to do, because they know they're not supposed to own no land, they are trying to wipe you out, so that gives this land to them clear and free. and saying that they're the indigenous people of America. That is what they're trying to do. They want to claim indigenous when we know they're not indigenous to no land. All melanated people are indigenous across the world, are the darker skinned people, are the indigenous people. But they're trying to make it look like they're indigenous to America. So it's time for us to get our own. You know, damn Joe Biden and all the rest of them, because they're part of that same agenda.
How about this? How about we just shut the government down? How about we don't play their game no more? Because in order for them to be active in this shit, we have to associate ourselves with it. So that's why they get you to vote. So if you go vote, you're actually saying, hey, I'm playing still. We still want y'all to be our representation. So we're going to keep doing it. If we don't get involved, then they can't play the game no more.
It don't work like that. You got to have yourself, you got to have a caucus that's going to ask for things that you want for your community.
Yeah, but the caucus is you giving the caucus the rights. See, it's European, it's people that's from other countries that have been nationalized to represent you, and they use the laws that they make. You know what I'm saying? And they represent you. Long as you keep calling yourself African American, then guess who they speaking for? You're not speaking for the people that's actually on the panel now that's talking about, hey, we not African American. See, they using that term because they're Africans from America that live in America.
But what I'm saying is we're not going under that term African American because we know we're not African Americans.
Yeah, but when you got representation, I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're saying let's start our own caucus.
Right.
But you have to shut the caucus that exists out of the way. You have to shut it down.
No, you don't, because they represent their own people. Just like the Jews. The Jews have their own caucus and they represent their own people. Chinese have their own caucus.
Yeah, but see, that's why we having this total conversation, because we trying to get our people that's still involved with themselves and saying that they African American. It's more majority of the people that look like us. They claiming that they African American. How do we change their perspective and have them understand that they're not African American? And
you can't change their perspective.
They're gonna have to do their genealogy first of all, because we know that African American is a misnomer. But see, they have been brainwashed so they actually believe that is a nationality, that African Americans are national, and it's not, because we've been misled for so long. They don't even know what the truth is. And when you present the truth to them, it's foreign to them. Just like this government. This government is foreign. It only exists in 1600. Up at Washington. It don't exist nowhere else. And we go have to form our own government. We have to be able to govern ourselves.
That's right.
I told people this. I said the movie National Treasurer shows you the perspective of how they took your riches and they holding it for ransom, and they using it trade across the country. Now, just like a dollar bill represents that treasury that you have that's existence, and they trading notes based on your land. You know what I'm saying? So how do us American Indians shut this shit down, right? Or if you want to say you Moorish, how do we shut this shit down, right? Let's do what the government's been doing the last since February.
8 months,
they shut down the government.
7,
So what we need to do is as a whole, we need to shut the government down.
You can't shut the government down. You don't have a military to shut the government down. You have to form your own.
No. Hear me out. Hear me out, brother.
Go ahead.
In order for them to be a functioning government, they need you to play your part in it. That means if you go and you vote for your closest, governor or mayor or whatever, your name is, you using signatures to do that, right? So what you do is you go in there, you register for the vote, right? And when you go in there to vote, they give you a ballot. That ballot has your signature on there. And when you put it in the box, you're saying, I'm with the shit. I want y'all to keep doing what y'all doing to us. I want y'all to keep, shooting people just for no reason. So what I'm saying is, black people need to, or so-called black people need to shut down their activities in the active government that's happening right now. You know
But
what I'm
see,
saying?
our people don't know this. They don't understand
Thank
that
you.
this is a fictional government.
Right.
They actually believe that what they're living in is what they call their reality. They don't know their reality has been painted by somebody else. So
Right.
we're dealing with a bunch of people that actually believe that they need somebody else to govern them. They don't know how
Right.
to govern themselves. You got
Right.
our people willing to go stand in line to vote in their next master. Because that's exactly
Right.
what they're doing. They voting their next master in.
And they already made their perspective of who you are. You majority. You minority. So
But
you the
Yes,
kid.
you're
You the
minor.
children.
Yeah,
okay, but
you're a child.
okay.
Right.
Let me try to explain to you a different way because everybody's we have a lot of people in this country, and I know we more than 13%, but everybody is not looking to claim that they have indigenous ancestry because they don't understand this. So if they can form a tea party and have a collective of people who's saying that we're gonna vote in this particular pack, or if you're gonna have the Angelicals, they're supposed to be the upstanding Christian folks who will vote for Trump. Those people have their own little party. We can have a party set aside that's different from everybody else's party. It's enough of us online who has this information that know
Brother,
this.
but I have to disagree with you because what we saying is you still playing a part in a fictional government. You still actively saying, "Hey, even though they don't have to follow up on them treaty the laws that we set up laws that we want them to change out and we want rights to this and that. They don't withhold their treaties because their government is fictional. So if it's fictitious, then that means I can change things when I want to. So what I'm proposing is that we don't get involved with them at all because that
But see, our
constitution is not your
people,
original constitution.
They're
and
gonna
we
move
know that
on
it's
without you.
not the organic. They can move on. You're right, move on. But our people don't get it that this government is not for them. They
That's
don't
right.
get it. They don't get
Yeah,
it
we
that
all
the
know that.
electoral votes.
Yeah.
That no, because our people believe if they go vote, they vote counts. They don't
Right.
understand when it comes to the presidential election. This right here, electoral vote put them in. Nobody
What
put them in
about
with the
local vote?
electoral colleges.
What about
Huh?
local voting? What about voting local? What do you what's your opinion on that part? Vote local,
If
locally,
it
like
ain't
It's
indigenous,
Yo,
not
that's the
it's
same thing.
indigenous.
It ain't your government. You
yeah,
got
but you
people.
still
That's
can have
people.
you
Listen,
have
you got
more
people.
influence on
you
the political party because
you need a
it's
rep,
local.
Yeah,
you need a representative that's
but
gonna
listen,
represent your interests.
I
So
get you.
if
I understand what y'all saying, but what I'm saying to y'all is even the local government.
mhm.
See, if you come from clans that have their own government, right? See what they're doing. They're under a common law government, meaning that them laws that they have a sovereign immunity to their government, meaning they can change things and they don't have to be they don't have to see. Basically, they set themselves up like like the kings in England. So if the king say something, they can't do no wrong. You understand what I'm saying? So when we say, hey, it's brothers out here getting shot by the cops, well, the king say, y'all people act like this, so things happen. You know what I'm saying? Because their government is not it's not to protect you because so-called Negroes in America never been nationalized. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh
So
yeah.
you're not a part of their system. Their system is the United States of America. It's a corporation. It's fictional. Local government, motherfucking national government, it's all fictional.
You
Well,
got
we
to
say
Because
the
you're
same
understand
thing.
there's
We say
two
the same
United
thing.
States. You have to understand there's the United States of America and there's United States of the America.
Mhm.
So
right.
But
it's people thinking when they say this, we're a part of the United States of the Americas.
so okay, look at it like this. We got to start small somewhere.
Hmm.
If we can pull enough people together to present it to a representative to fight on our behalf, our own government, we have to. I mean, we got to start at grassroots. Because right
Yeah,
now
but
we're
it's
not
not
built.
going. I mean, long as these white folks got guns and they got all the weaponry in the world or whatnot. You see what they did with the Moors and different people? They put them on the blackish strip. It was it
Right.
an extremist list or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? These folks don't. You know how many treaties? Y'all know
They
how
are
many treaties these white
they
folks
are
done broke?
extremists. They are extremists. I mean, I seen the guy on YouTube. He go in the courtroom and tell the judge, get out. I'm taking over this. Give me. He tore down the flag. Yeah, the cops wrestled him to the floor and beat him up.
Pay
No, yeah,
attention, y'all.
that's an isolated incident. Now we just talking about in general. They putting everybody. You know, whether you talking about you Pan African, whether you talk about you Hebrew Israelite or whatnot, they all got them under the black identity extremists. And now you got weirdos amongst everybody. You feel what I'm saying? But
Right.
this white boy, we gotta understand, he never honored a treaty, and this is going back to different parts. I mean, going further than government, they just came, motherfucker. You know, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and make this agreement with you and whatnot, and then boom.
Hey,
They back.
you know who put them there, right? You know who put these people in the place of our put them in the situation they're in now to govern you, right? Us.
Yep,
So we
us.
having an us conversation saying, hey,
Thanks.
let's shut this shit down. We created it in the beginning anyway. The white man only there because we let him be there. You
Hey,
know what I'm
that's right.
saying?
Yeah, but right now it grew into a monster. So it's
Yeah.
beyond. Yeah.
Hey, you give somebody some power. You can take the average person on the street, give him some money and a gun, and he becomes a super thug. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Oh
this
yeah.
is what I want y'all to look at. Y'all know the fringes is not on the flag anymore.
Right,
Mm.
right,
So pay attention.
right.
Kalito family, can I just jump in real quick? I know y'all been building
Yes,
for a
Alito
while.
L.
Go ahead.
Boogie.
I just now had a chance to jump on, and I just wanted to lend my 2 cents to I guess I'm a little late because now y'all talking about political. But when I was listening before I could get on, I was hearing about the colorism and who's this and who's that and what you identify as, and if you speak Spanish you can't be this, and I'm like, I just think that they got us fucked up chasing our tail with this colorism shit. You know, I grew up confused. I grew up confused. My mom is real super light, my dad's super dark. I'm in between, but I never could see myself in either one of them. So I had to figure out and find my identity. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that led me to the Pan-African bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, like everybody else, my grandma said her grandma was Indian. Some kind of way, your grandma's grandma was Indian, but then by the time you come along, y'all just not Indian no more. But okay, right? But you trying to find yourself, but like I said, I grew up confused, but not in the sense of whether I was black or not, because you couldn't tell my light-skinned Creole side that they was not black. You can't tell them Creoles they ain't black. My auntie in her 60s, super light hair, not blonde, but light brown, blue eyes that change gray depending on her mood. And she said the woman was arguing with her, telling her she ain't black. And I mean, and I'm like, Auntie, well, technically,
I'm
because
not
I'm sharing with her,
I'm not
the
caught up in skin
information.
color.
No, I
I'm
know
not
you not. No,
yeah.
I know you not.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
My thing
A1 is one of the people I hear people talking about. It don't take much for you to lose your color in a sense. You know what I'm saying? But that, like, okay. So what I'm saying is, my grandson looked just like the little Mexican boy, but he came from my daughter. That's the dark one. I got two light daughters and one dark daughter. The
Well,
light
yeah,
skinned
that's
daughter had a dark skinned daughter. The dark
well.
skinned daughter had
Most
the
of our
light
families.
skinned boy. Can I finish?
Most,
Can I finish? Can I
go
finish?
ahead, sister. I'm
Because
sorry.
what
I'm
I'm
sorry.
learning, it's about what's dominant in your gene pool. Okay. They say black is supposed to be the dominant. My dad is midnight black, right? But both of his great grandchildren are Mexican. You got to go back to look for the so called black.
Two
But if you are
generations.
being raised as such,
is he
because
going?
it's called being
Okay.
you able to
Look at
self-identify, you don't get to sit on YouTube and say because that person speaks Spanish, they not an American Indian. Because I'm teaching my little Mexican-looking grandson, whose name in Hawaiian means high chief, that he's an American Indian. So y'all gotta let go of that color shit, because that's what got us in the first place. We think all skin folk is kinfolk. You got
Well, we know all
Kamala's
skin folks ain't
We never
kinfolk.
said that.
went
We
on
never
stage.
said that, sister.
Mic check, mic
I
check,
know.
mic check, mic check, mic
Can I
check.
just let me? I know. Let me just give my spiel, because I just now getting a chance to get it out there. But I'm just saying we gotta stop, being confused like I was, because I'm telling you, I already been where y'all are at. Right? But when you go by self-identification, we can't sit and tell nobody who they are. You just can't.
Facts.
All right, so hold a question
Just
real
like
quick.
you got a right to say who you are, Antanchan, my little Mexican-looking grandson, who gonna be trilingual if I have anything to do with it. I'm
So you just gave a
English,
description of what a
Spanish.
Mexican is.
But
You
I'm
can't give a
saying, if you
description of
look
what a
at him,
Mexican
that's
is.
what that's what people are going
But
to
you, all right, so
assume.
look, hold on, Al Boogie,
I'm
hold on.
telling you
hold
what
on.
you're gonna
I
assume
got
when you look
Got
at him. If you
All
don't
right,
see his mama. Hell, I was
listen to
married
this.
in the Mexican restaurant with I'm telling you, he don't look like he got a drop of Indian
Relax.
in him.
But do
All right,
y'all know the original
on.
Mexicans? The original Mexicans look like us.
All right,
I
hold
know
on.
this.
My wife, listen, my wife is what you
know.
consider a black Mexican. She's black. She looks like a light-skinned woman, light-skinned black woman, right? But her family is bloodline goes to Mexico. So that's not a description. You can't say just because he looks like he's Mexican doesn't mean
You
he's
missing my
Mexican.
point. You missing my point. I'm coming in on the back end of what all I've been hearing y'all saying.
So
Right.
I'm coming in
So
on
you
the
on the
back
back
end.
end, so you don't know
I'm
the front
coming
end
in on
of
the
it.
back
Oh,
end.
hey, yo, look,
Exactly.
listen.
And I'm just giving my 2 cents, because I'm hearing people throwing out what people look like.
Right.
All right, look,
We get you, sister.
We're not going to do this, yo. When I'm trying to talk, you gotta let me talk. All right, so, you gotta mute your mic, El Boogie, but I'm gonna respond to what you said. No, we're going to continue to do what we're doing. And you said it yourself that your black son or your black daughter had a child with what was going to be a Mexican. So now we're not saying that he's not indigenous because he came out looking like a Mexican, but you said it yourself that he's mixed with something else outside of us. So when we're trying to find out who we are, we're going to keep doing this. So I don't know, like, I don't know what the confusion is, or like as far as from what my understanding is, you got people who are dark skinned, no matter how we want to look at it, play the colorism game, we have to play that. Because you got people who they saying that came from Africa who look dark skinned and they don't know who the hell they are. So when I'm doing this and when I'm saying what I'm saying it for a particular reason. I'm not saying it for your grandson or because you grew up, you feel some certain type way. I'm light skinned too. I had the same fucking shit. My mother too. But my mother showed me that Lena Horne was a Negro. My mother showed me that Vanessa Williams was a Negro. So I've always seen people, whether you were light or dark, as black people. What I'm saying to people is this. This is what I'm saying. Okay? You have people who are a dark-skinned you who do not identify with being an Indian because they think they came from Africa. So when we talking about these different nations, when we talking about colorization, that's very relevant. So I don't know what's being misinterpreted. I'm not here for nobody's personal feelings. I'm here for the feelings of the people who don't know who the hell they are. Because I can self-identify the fucking code. So am I told, or am I told biology? Is my biology gonna tell me that I'm a fucking what they call a fucking toad, an amphibian or reptile? No. So when we saying that, we're trying to get an understanding and cause the confusion, because once we can identify a certain group of people as who they are, and then we can make it all come full circle. So even the brothers and sisters, look, copper color, empress, light skin, you like the pleasure, I like the pleasure. We all just sat here and said the same thing. That okay, she said that she came from darker people. But most of the darker people do not identify as being an Indian. And
They
you
don't.
sit there and explain it to them because they're lost on it. So we gotta keep this going.
And that's why I say I get what you're doing, A1. Some people get offended, but I'm not offended. I'm light skinned. I'm not offended. uh the thing what you're trying to do is show it wasn't about it's not the ones you see on the so-called natives on the reservation that are the Indians. You're the Indians if you're dark skinned, but they have told you because you're dark skinned that you Negro, you colored, you're mulatto, you're African American. You came from out of Africa because you have a darker hue. I get what you. That's why I don't knock what you doing. Just like I like Corey Mayo too. He shows a lot of us. He does.
Can I speak now?
Yes.
Okay. So I get that and I understand that, but again, like it's like I don't know. It's like an assumption. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people jump to conclusion and assumptions because both of my sides said they was Indians, the light and the dark. So that wasn't the confusion. That was not my confusion.
Everybody don't have
so
that.
And that's all I came up here to say. My piece. That's all.
So,
We are getting confused by the color, and we can't keep falling for that okie doke. We just
all
can't.
right, well, let's take out this coloring description. Let's go with the description. Fuck the coloring, because we know coloring is made up. We're going with the description of a personal phenotype or whatever. So let's say, for example, I'm a so-called Aborigine, aka black man, copper color, African American, right? If I go mate with a Chinese woman, and my children come out Chinese, they're gonna assume that my children are Chinese according to how they look, because they don't look like the original phenotype of the people here. So they will have to explain, well, look, my mother's Chinese and my father is this. It would still be, you would still have to explain it no matter how you look at it. Is that right or is that not right?
Yeah.
That's right.
If I'm gonna have a child with a motherfucking, I don't care. I'm not trying to be funny. A Mexican or a Hawaiian, or what we see the Hawaiians as now, because the original Hawaiians would have been termed the Negro. Okay, but we talking about a Chinese person or you're Asian person or whatever, and they walk up to somebody who's dark skinned like, yo, I'm American Indian, and then because of the images you see of American Indian, they're like, yeah, you are. You are Indian too. They're like, nah, I'm African. Or you know, yeah, my grandmother, she was Indian, she was real light and she had real long hair. It's the descriptions the way we get lost. So it's way they didn't do so much confusion amongst us as African Americans. Well, I ain't saying African Americans, but the people who claim to be that, to where you have to have these type of shows to where we can break all this stuff down. Because I'm out there with the people talking to the people. So it's outside of YouTube. This is just
you basically you're trying to break that barrier where people actually believe that we came by way of a slave ship, and because of the color of our skin, that's how they know that we are the Africans. I get all that, and that's why I don't try to debate with none of y'all. Just like I said with Corey Mayo, he does show some people with straight hair. I can show you my daughter. And my daughter, her hair at times is straight.
But a lot of them people, not us, man. Fuck all that.
Yeah, I know a lot of us. No, we know some of these.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't we have all those variations, though?
We do
got those variations. We do got those variations.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not trying to give good hair to white people, and I ain't trying to give blackness to Africans.
And that's okay. That's okay, though. What I'm saying
I understand people's confusion.
Got you. The confusion is we don't know who the hell we are, regardless of whether you say we got straight hair, nappy hair, because the person with nappy hair gonna be looking at the person with straight hair like, look, the majority of people I see got nappy hair.
Right.
The majority
of people look at me. I got
99% of our fucking people got nappy fucking hair. We can sit here and play games all we fucking want, but the truth is
it ain't nappy hair, it's core.
But that's perception. And that's perception. Because I would look at somebody and be like, oh, they got nice hair. And they be like, ooh, my hair's so nappy. You know I mean, so I mean,
I mean,
hey,
yeah,
I just think people be confused on the color, and that's just my 2 cents. But
Is it
yeah,
y'all
me?
rock on, y'all rock on. I'm listening. I'm gonna
Is it
jump
me?
off. Y'all
Is it
rock
me?
on.
you ain't gotta
Is
go
it
no
me?
bad, Boogie. You good?
Hey, is it me or do we all? So I'm dark skinned, right? I'm considered what you would call a dark skinned person, right? But my father is light skinned, right? My mother is dark skinned. But in a majority of my family, I got people that's light skinned, dark skinned, brown skinned, whatever you want to say. It's a mixing bowl of different types in everybody family.
Copper and
We
different
don't have,
colors.
yeah, copper. I mean, it's not a distinct thing, but we know blackness when we know people. We know our people when we see them. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
That
So when you say, "Oh, Caramel is putting on that," most people say Caramel is a Spaniard. When I look at him, I think he's a Spaniard. You know what I'm saying?
and,
He doesn't look like he has our full culture, but then you don't know because we
because
don't
if you
see
go back into his bloodline,
right.
you will come up with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And,
So
So
and
what am
Right.
I to
So
do?
that's
That's
the
my point.
conversation.
That's just my
Listen,
point.
listen. That's the conversation we need to be having, right? It
right,
doesn't matter if you're
Go
black
to the
to
bloodline.
the federal government, right? Because black
right.
lets you know who was here first. That's what we need to be arguing, and not amongst each other, but to the federal government. Dark skin
Right.
means we were here first. Period.
That's
You can
that's
look
another
at
that's
it
another issue too. We gotta tell. We
scientifically.
shouldn't have to tell these people what to call ourselves. That's the problem that we've been. That's the issue that we having today is because we've been allowing them to let people
To
go and
tell
tell
us
them who we want to call
your word.
ourselves.
but
Absolutely.
We
but we
never
And
can't.
named
the
ourselves. I'm gonna tell y'all like this: Negro, color, mulatto, or all these other fictitious African American is still calling you a damn nigga.
Right.
And that's what the hell. It's all being
right,
disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
But but
Right.
right.
but also we can't generalize because there were a lot of Britons of dark skin complexion that
So
came here, and they not the
the
American
question is
Indian
this:
Uh, and the Scottish and the
and the
Irish,
Scottish
they
and
were
the
Yeah.
dark
Irish.
skinned
Right.
people.
Mm-hmm.
why
But
are we calling ourselves what? Why are we so hung up on being an Indian when that was a term that proceeded from the federal government for a particular status? It's not even about being an Indian. It's
That's why.
about going back to what our people called themselves when they got here and started renaming shit.
Right. Right.
well,
Right.
okay, well
But
it's like
you got people that argue that fact because they still want to be involved in this United States corporation.
Exactly. That's the
I'm saying that we need to shut the
problem.
corporation down and go back to our original government, which is the government of the land. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
natural law.
Right,
what
natural
what
law.
what the people that lived in those communities, they called them the Indians, but our people were called the Saponis and the Catawbas. So that's what
Yeah,
I
we
go
went
by.
by. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I go by when someone say, "What's your nationality?" I tell them I'm a Saponi Catawba.
Taba.
Now
That's right.
you know us as the Indians because the treaties was written as the Indians. There was no Native
Yes.
Americans at that time. So now they
And
trying to
hey,
attach that
honestly,
name Indian.
necessarily
They trying to attach that name Indian to
need to
Native
shut the
American.
government down. Like you said, we need to.
It's about what clan you from. What
That's
clan you from.
that's right.
Uh,
Right.
it's basic what
But
it boils
see,
down to.
to me that's confusing, right? Because
Like what try
right,
like you claim a
exactly,
set,
right.
like you go
We
over
need
there
to.
and
When they
I'm
wrote
from
those treaties, they put Indian there. They didn't
yeah,
put you there.
no,
They marginalize you. They marginalize just like
Well,
they say African American.
I'm a
And African American has a distinct look. Like
well,
they
they say
give you what just like we say when motherfuckers say Native American, or you tell a person like A1 said, you tell a person, hey man, you got Indian in your family, you Indian. And then they be like, yeah, I got Indian in my family, got high cheekbones and long strained back hair and all this shit. You'd be like, come on, man, that's not what a description of a motherfucking person that's
Right,
indigenous to this land looks like.
Mhm.
right,
Let me
They
say
look
something.
like you.
Let me say something, right? Let me say something. Let me say this again, right? Listen, I already know I was the aborigine of this land. Okay. Now, my father's side of the family was the people who told me, which they're strictly look like them fucking Seminoles that I just told you. So I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute. What fucking mean you're Indian? They don't show me Indians that look like you. So once I found, listen, I can go sit back and chill. I already sent off all my documentation. I can chill. I can get off of YouTube and never say another fucking word and mind my fucking business, and I'm gonna be a fucking Indian. But guess what though? It's lonely at the top. I'm not leaving my brothers and sisters around. So if people in it hold on, let me finish this. If people in this shit for self-gratification, I get it. I'm not in it for that. I'm in it to at least give people to observe, so they can observe and say, well, look, man, since you thinking you're African, you need to check back into it and see, because people who look just like you was here as well. So that's what I'm saying. Because listen, it's okay for light-skinned people to be Indian. It's okay for mixed-looking people to be Indian. But when you get down to people who look a certain particular way, most of them ain't claiming that, and they're confused by it. So that's when these conversations have to come into play. We cannot stop these conversations because I'm out there every day interviewing people who are confused. So it ain't got nothing to do with your YouTube. It ain't listen, I done interviewed over 25 while motherfuckers was twirling their fingers and playing in their ass. I done interviewed over 2,500 fucking people. So this ain't a YouTube thing for me. This is beyond some YouTube thing for me.
Right.
It's just a bigger platform to reach more people, to let people know. It ain't about, I can erase my channel right now. Listen, I can erase my channel right now and I could do lectures for the rest of my motherfucking life, yo. I got a lot of information, yo. You don't know. I have a lot of information.
Hey, hey, A1, it was a question in the chat. Said, what about the Olmec heads? See, and I know a lot of people look at the Olmecs because of the nose and this. Oh, those are Africans. Who told you those was Africans?
Right.
The Olmec heads. Listen, the Olmecs is responding. The reason why I talk about the pyramids, for just for people who listening, who don't like to hear about pyramids, I talk about the pyramids because that is our fucking culture as well. The mounds, the here, all of that comes into America. When we was Pan-Africa, who thought we was from West Africa, we was all praising fucking Egypt, Nefertiti, and all that. But now when it comes to America, we shouldn't worry about it. So people, you need to get the fuck away from them. Let them build on what they build. Don't cross over into my section if you don't want to hear that shit.
First of all, like I said, anybody can put a motherfucking triangle in the middle of a goddamn desert. Anybody. Because that's all the fuck that's standing over there when they come talking about these pyramids. It's a motherfucking triangles that they done stood up in the middle because they couldn't do our shit. These are pyramids over here.
Right. Hey, did any of you guys ever see a video where they was showing where they was making those?
Oh yeah, we know about it. I got them in
is that real? Is that a real video?
Real. I think that's in another part. I think that's in another part of Africa. That's not the actual pyramids that we've been seeing the whole time.
So it's a replica.
Yeah, they replicate.
That was them building a replica, just playing around.
Yeah. You know how they do. They gotta copy everything. You know how they do. But see, what we have to understand.
No, real quick, y'all. Let me show you something. Look, hold on, Mike. Money, look. Let me show you something that's not a replica, right? Hold on, let me go back. Let me show y'all something real quick. You see this right here? This is what these Europeans are talking about while we saying that this shit is not important, right? Now, we know, okay, Florida, Mexico, Central America was part of Florida. Straight the fuck up. But people don't have that knowledge to understand. Because when they taking over the Alamo was one of the last ports before they went into Mexico. Okay. So what you're looking at is what they call LIDAR. Okay. These are fucking thousands of fucking pyramids that they found in America that we don't even know about. Thousands. Do you see all of these structures in white right here? Can y'all see this? Can y'all see this?
Freaking awesome. Hell yeah, I see that shit. Hey, and wasn't some dude on here talking about, but they not true pyramids. Like, what the fuck is a true pyramid? I was like, nigga.
That's the motherfucker that he's in the background. I'm gonna let him in. He's gonna punish me.
Oh,
Look,
damn. Oops.
he's gonna punish. He's not. No, don't worry. We got you, sis. Don't worry. He's not dangerous. We got him. Look, this is more images. And all I'm saying is this, man. We all got different levels. I'm not trying to make it about light Indians against dark Indians. I'm trying to give a clarification for the people who think they dark. Because you got something.
I got you.
So you understand what I'm saying? I've spoken to scholars, and they would hit me. Well, they would sit back in their chair with their fucking pipe and be like, well, you do know that we mixed with the Native Americans, and that's the reason why they look the way they look. What the fuck is you talking about? And then they teach this fuckery, and then we get lost as the people, and people who know they got. Listen, I'm running up on straight people who know they got Indians, they won't claim it, and then they would even sit back and say, "Oh yeah, my grandmother was it," and so you're not one. Fucking right. The Indian. So that's all I'm saying.
Disrespectful.
And I'm sorry if I might have sounded a little hype or whatever. I'm sorry. Bookie is a A1 from day one or whatever.
Yeah, and I just don't want people to be lost in it. You know what I'm saying? But you know, because I hear it all the time. But like I said, I was coming in on the back end of it. You know what I'm saying? And so
if we got we got room for all of our people. But even when you're dealing with your grandchildren, they're going to say, "Oh, my mother was." I don't know if they identify as that, but most of the people who may think, because remember, these are all terms and these are all classifications that European terms, so we can agree on that. But we have to use the terms just for observational purposes, just so
for clarity.
I can't explain a room without like, well, you going on, it's four corners and four walls, and think about a room. You talking about a fucking room? Oh yeah, right. But that's a European name, so I can't use that. I'm right. It. And that's what I was telling the brother earlier when he was saying we people are so. We understand what you're saying, brother. But when we like let's say you, for example, where you at? You walk up on the people, you start having these conversations outside. Like I said, outside of you, we all can do it. We got 100 and almost 200 people in the chat room or whatever, and probably 1,000 people going to listen to this. You do the experiment. You walk up to people in your neighborhood and ask them. Look.
But I ask them, I be like this, what tribe you from? That's what I ask people. I straight up like that. And I had this one brother tell me, he kind of blew my mind because he was a little young brother. And he was like, and I forget what he said, but I know he said, he's like, yeah, I'm from the such and such, my people from the such and such tribe from Michigan. I'm from Michigan. I said, all right. Like, I was kind of messing with him, you know what I mean? But he was ready with his answer. I said, that's what I'm talking about. These babies know. These babies know. They waiting for us to wake the hell up.
And then you also have to ask them, whose blood is stronger?
Look,
shit.
It's a full-blooded. Look, it's a full-blooded Cherokee right here. I mean, I don't want to say full-blooded because that shit sound misleading or whatever though. Right. But this lady right here is a full-blood. Now, if you look at her hair, you will see that it's not because I remember, like I gave the you L Book, you from California, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you from Cali, so you remember back in the day when what was the group that used to be dancing with Hammer? The rap group of ladies and shit.
357.
357. Now look,
I went to high school with one of them.
Look out! Look! And JJ Fad, right? JJ Fad was from out there too, right?
Yeah, LA, yeah.
Sonic, right? So check it out. When you look at them sisters' hair, right? They wasn't wearing weaves. So most of the people prior to 1990. Most of the sisters allowed having long hair or having lift in your hair was a sign. That shit meant something before. Like when you see girls like, yo, your hair long, like your hair long. Let me push that. Like that was a sign that meant something. Yep. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to say, well, some of us got that's not my argument. The whole argument is we got people of all copper colors. That's the reason why when you see pennies, some of them dark. Some of them reddish brown, some of them light brown. We got all different hues when it's dealing with us, But we have to make a platform and make a space for all of us, because some of us don't identify as it according to the brainwash that we heard from these Europeans and from African Pan-Africans. You see what I'm saying? Because like this guy, Big Cash, King Cash, I don't know what's his name, right? He will regurgitate and say, well, you know there was Africans that mixed with Native Americans, but I'm showing you documentation that people who look just like Africans
very little.
You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. I don't want anybody out there who may think that this is like this is a branch conversation. This is not a belief or nothing. We having a conversation amongst just random people, just so people can understand. Because a lot of people are confused. You might have a brother, L Boogie, or family members that might be dark, and when you go to them and explain it to them, they're like, yeah, well, you know, we mixed Africans, they mixed Native Americans. And you're like, wait, do you
Man, I got the super light ones telling me that shit, A1. I got the super light ones with the blue eyes telling me this shit, man.
See? And see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying.
Facebook.
Yeah.
He like,
they don't get it.
I did. So I traced my genealogy 4 generations on both sides. And the only place it took me was to Haiti. Other than that, everybody else was here. We're here in Oklahoma and New Orleans.
And that's why you said, hold up. You said Oklahoma and New Orleans. Oklahoma and New Orleans. Remember, New Orleans, Louisiana is where the Natchez Indians was at. The French took the Natchez Indians to Haiti. Hey, there you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead, Bill, sis, because we're about to get out of here. But definitely shout out to all the Aborigines.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was just gonna say, when you look at the names, you know, you come to assumptions. You know what I mean? Because it's Spanish and it's a lot of French, right? Because it's New Orleans. And so my auntie was sharing pictures, and you know, so now I'm putting faces with these names, you know, and it's like my great grandpa on my mama's side, well, my mama's side is the real light ones. This picture was a black and white, but man, look, when I looked at the picture, I was like, this nigga is swarthy. What Caramel said, swarthy, right? You can tell he had a little hue to him, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a description
too.
Yeah.
But it fucked me up because you know, my mama and my mama's light, her daddy light, her mom was like, you know, when I see the picture, everybody light. So to see my grandfather's daddy to be a little brown, you know what I mean? It just kind of, you know, it was just one of those things where, see, can't be assuming. You know what I mean? So that's why they call them Creole, because it's just a mixture of the French, the Spanish, and the Indian. I ain't found no African. I don't know where it came in at. I ain't found.
And was them French dark skin French? You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what I mean. That we don't know.
Right.
They black, but even if you look,
you know,
I mean, LA, right? Let's say.
Well,
LA
no. Wait. No. Let me clarify. Wait. Hold on. Let me clarify. One of my relatives, they said, I haven't seen the documentation, but they said that when he came here from France, he registered as a Creole de couleur. Okay, so that right there to let you know he was a Creole of color. He wasn't trying to claim white. He wasn't white. He was so. There it is.
I don't use the term.
You know, back up with your question. You know,
I don't use the term Swarthy because you got to explain that shit too. So I'd rather just go with the common term. Like Swarthy is just like a fancy term. You still got to explain that. You still got, what do you mean by Swarthy? What did that mean to the person who don't know? So if I'm telling you black, or Swarthy ain't no different from a dark skin complexion person. So even when you saying Swarthy, the Dutch use that as a descriptive term, and they all descriptive. So when people say, we can't use color, well, a color is a description as well. And people are using descriptions to give the person that's reading or the person that's reviewing this information an idea of who they talking about. So, like, no one likes to use no colors. No one likes to generalize people. But fuck that. We got to generalize people because a lot of our people are generalized as African Americans, and a lot of them don't fucking know. So that would be a generalization. So you have to undo what was already done before we can go forward. If you still under the same brainwash as before, you know, if like the brother was on here, he knew. So for him, this conversation didn't apply for people going forward who gonna come and ask these questions. Like I said, we're gonna do a part two to this. But this is for people who come in. It's not for us that we already know some of this information. I just wanted people to prove to me, like, how would you, if you were to say, if I was to argue you down that you're African, how would you win me over and let me know that it was people who look just like me here prior to the colonizers, probably prior to the dark Britain, the dark French, the dark skin, what Scottish or what? You understand what I'm saying? How would you explain this to me? Like I'm trying to. That's the whole premise of this conversation, and we just can't say genealogy is the end all be all because you got a lot of people who done their genealogy still fucking confused. So you have to have additional sources of material to explain. You gotta give a person a template. Look, man, there was niggas here who look just like you. Boom. And then, okay, all right, so now you got an idea or you got an understanding that you can start with them. You know what? Outside of what my personal belief or outside what I learned at school or outside of what a lot of these experts saying, they're saying that people look just like what you deem an African to look like already in America before so-called, I ain't gonna say colonization. Colonization started in 1865. We was free all the way up until we started signing, till we came under these people's jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother story, but I'm just saying for the sake of people who listening, and I ain't mean to get under nobody's skin or whatever. This is not nothing personal for me. It's not nothing personal to even the people who I don't rock with. It's not nothing personal to nobody. This is for people who trying to really find out or trying to gather some idea or you know what I'm saying, understanding. Because we have to have these conversations. Whether, you know, some of us might get a little feeling, but at the end of the day, once you explain it, most of us understand it. Like I said, if I have a child with my child coming out look Asian, like, and then they tell, all right, well, shit. I mean, they might really think he was an Indian, even looking like an Asian, the way this history is taught. But for one of us, you'd be like, nah, you like an Asian or a Mongoloid. And you'd be like, nah, this picture my father right here. Oh shit, your father was an Aborigine. Oh, okay, all right. So your mother was, oh, okay. Oh, now I understand. So you have to, you see what I'm saying? So there's levels to this. We see, when you understand algebra, then I can't teach you, I can't try to teach you something that you already understand. So if I'm telling you, well, all right, x plus 5 equals 8. And you looking on the, you all right, 3 plus 5 equals 8. Or you understand what I'm saying? Or binumeral or trinumeral, or however you want to look at it. You have to have that level of understanding. You have to wake that part of your genetics up. When these motherfuckers is telling you that human beings got all these dead DNA, that's DNA that you ain't tap into. That's DNA that you haven't done an observation to. You see what I'm saying? That's why a lot of shit comes natural. A lot of things come natural once a person bring it to your attention. I'm quite sure even us living in the North, if somebody was to really take us on a farm or let's say a farm or a garden, we got that DNA in our we got that genetics in our DNA already. So we're gonna unweight that part that we haven't been living in our time that we've been on this planet. So you're gonna be like, oh shit, this shit gonna come natural. Like, all right, boom, a month, a year later, you're gonna be able to go out there. Yeah, that's right. Pick that off. Oh, that's right. Boom. Oh, I need more time. That has to go more. All right.
I mean, certain shit is just encoded, like you said, brother. Like, certain shit is, I mean, whether it goes from your traditional shit that we do, what the brother A1 was explaining, gardening and certain things on a farm, or where it comes to cultural influence, whether throwing on what you call fashion or drip or accessories, diamonds, jewelry. These are the customs that's been around. I don't think we think twice about it. We just happen to do it. It's already encoded. So, like they say, there's nothing new under the sun. It just, we got new problems, new obstacles. So with that, you have to come up with new solutions to overcome them.
Right. And just like, you see a lot of brothers that come from the Caribbean as well as the South. They got gold teeth in them. Now we know we got some of us got, and some of us do that now. But you got people who had gold teeth in their mouth, and this is where the culture come from for niggas to rock gold. So you see that you don't see the culture that most Negroes or most people like I said, either in the Caribbean, the South, some places in the North, they all got gold in them. I got my aunt got a gold, a fucking bridge off that gold and a gold bottom or whatever. My neighbor had the same thing in her mouth, and I was there. She from Ghana, and I'm like, oh, let me see that. I ain't never see that shit. I'm like, how long you had this? I had this since I was 14. Okay, okay. So that's something that you see that is our culture. You know what I'm saying? And that's what culture freedom is about. Culture freedom ain't about trying to defame nobody or trying to say who's right and who's not, or saying I'm just going on my observational point that these Native Americans, I've never seen them around. I don't see them. I don't see them in the NCAA pictures. I don't see them among a lot of the yeah, they are out plains, but where my people is from, I don't see none of these from. And I've been saying that from day one. I've been saying the same thing for the last I've been saying the same. Well, I'm gonna say for the last 5 years. I was, Thousand Go Ahead. What's the other brother? Thousand Go Ahead. I think Thousand Go Ahead is the main one really showing a lot of them pictures. Some of them I can relate to. Some of them I was like, money grip. I never seen no niggas look like that before. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's in my neighborhood. I don't know too many Robinsons or Jones who they might, have certain features that look similar, but that is not, you know what I'm saying? That is not the same. Just because I got a red Aston Martin and I got a red Porsche don't mean that it's the same goddamn car with the same engine in it. So we about to get up out of here, man. Shout out to my brother Ad Power. Shout out to Get to the Root of It. Shout out to Copper Color Empress. Shout out to Copper Hawk. Shout out to El Boogie. Shout out to Stephen Red Clay. We had a couple other brothers in there. I'm sorry if I didn't mention your name or whatever, but definitely shout out to you. You know who you are. And like I said, don't take none of this personal. Don't look at me like, oh man, A1 would be with the confusion shit, because I'm not. This is just something for all of our people to be able to understand. And the observation, because you got some people, like I said, man, when you're trying to explain this, they don't, like, people do not recollect with a lot of the information. So shout out to everybody in the chat room. We will do this again. Hopefully more people come onto the panel. Sure, we probably could do it tomorrow. We probably could do another show tomorrow and just for observation. And we can also slash it with, what kind of Indian culture are you aware of? You know what I'm saying? And just start really just having these conversations. These conversations are not meant to make nobody feel bad. They're not pointing or trying to pick fun at nobody or trying to play the race game or none of that shit. But we are classified according to descriptions, whether we like it or whether we don't like it. That's the reality of it. And for us to fix what already been done, meaning we have to go back and fix that part and get everybody on the same token. Just like, let's say, for example, right? Just like everybody, like, prior to drugs and everything in our culture, most people think black people didn't have nothing, or we wasn't thriving. We didn't have no communities outside of us being drug dealers or none of that type of stuff. So therefore, we have to kind of go back and tell people that we wasn't always drug dealers, or we wasn't always people who beg for jobs, or people who do what we do today. You know what I'm saying? So, that's pretty much the method to my madness. Love me or hate me, I'm still gonna be on Kiel, A1 from day one or whatever. And anybody who got any mixed feelings about this, you don't make no videos about me. Fucking email me if you're a fucking man. Email me at chiefautochthon@al.com. If we can't get the shit done through the email, we can call each other. And if we agree to disagree. But like I said, people gotta stop the fuckery. If you got questions you want to ask me, ask me. Don't throw them out there. Don't shadow box without me being in front of you so I can throw punches back at you. You understand what I'm saying? That's just respectfully, because look, whether you respect this information or whether you don't, we've been championing for the fucking people for the longest. And a lot of people don't respect that and don't understand that. Outside of showing images, outside of showing scientific journals, outside of showing you books, and outside of showing you all that, we've been trying to take it to the largest community of Pan-Africans just to get them to say, well, look, man, there was black people already here, and we have done our job. So respect that, put some respect on all the brothers and sisters' names that does that. And like I said, man, just be happy that you have this. And like I said, you know, we got some people who may have grew up in this tradition and who can say, oh yeah, I know I was Indian. But a lot of you motherfuckers learn from Dan Calloway and learn from other people as well. So everybody cannot sit here and act like, oh, I was an Indian 20 years ago, or I was an Indian in this grade. I wasn't. Nah, I don't see that. I see some people know. And from your conversation, see, smart man once told me, I don't have to ask you what you know. All I gotta ask you everything you don't know. You're gonna tell me everything you do know. All I gotta do is listen to your conversation on how long you've been building with it. And we all got a starting point. Just because some people may have been doing this longer than some others, that shit doesn't mean nothing. But it only means something when you're trying to pull power cards around here. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna walk up to Mike Tyson and he's been boxing all this. Well, maybe I might, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If I'm an amateur, I'm not gonna walk up to a professional and challenge him. Unless I'm a cocky motherfucker. I'm going to wait my turn till I become a professional. And a lot of people are amateurs when it comes to this research. So shout out to the amateurs, shout out to the professionals, shout out to the people who can champion, shout out to everybody who ride with this whole paradigm or this whole awakening. So with that being said, you got something you want to say, AP, before we get out of here, man? I don't know where AP at. I think you got some mic muted if you're trying to say something. I don't know where AP at, but for the most part, man, like I said, that's all it is, man. It ain't no disrespect, man. I love all you people, man, all you beautiful people in the chat room, all you beautiful people who listen. Never trying to be cocky, always try to be humble with this information. But like I said, at the end of the day, these are conversations we gotta have. So with that being said, man, shout out to all the brothers and sisters, to all the brothers and sisters, peace to the guys as well to the brothers and sisters. And like I said, man, just keep doing your research. Keep trying to, if you are American Aborigine, claim that shit for real. Walk that and be that every day. And if you don't believe it, walk around and try to wake some of your people up. It's not going to hurt you if you see an older lady in the store, or grandmother, or whatever. Everybody talk about grandma, but nobody talks to no grandma. I never seen motherfuckers talking to no grandmother. Everybody says, grandma, okay, well, talk to a grandma. Let me see you talk to some of them and start doing your part and start waking some of these people up. Or start letting them tap back into their culture and tap back into their creed so they can identify themselves. This ain't just nothing personal. This ain't no, oh, well, this is for identification. How the fuck we gonna go forward, you know, with all this chaos out there, Black Lives Matter, motherfuckers getting gunned down or supposedly getting gunned down, and people acting like goddamn savages out here. How the fuck you gonna tap into your higher self and tap into your God that's in you? So with that being said, put up, shut up, you know what I'm saying? You know, we're gonna definitely do another build on this. And shout out to everybody that came through today. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're looking forward to having more conversations that's in line with this same conversation. So peace to everybody, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You know, with that being said, man, you know, we out of here, man. Peace.